What a wonderful beginning for today's session. Thank you, Swamiji, for your insights and wonderful speech. I would like to start my vote of thanks by thanking Scottish Church College for handholding us and for helping us to present such a wonderful initiative. I would like to thank all the participating colleges, their principals, their academic coordinators, and the students who have come forward. On behalf of the Chamber, we would like to thank our partner organizations who have helped us in dovetailing this program. We would like to thank Baman Laurie Travels and Vacations, Chowman Hospitality, Essensive Educare, and of course the entire team of Bengal Chamber who has been working with the Scottish Church College for this. We now look forward to a very engaging, eventful day, and we wish all the students who are participating in debate, in presentation, all the very best and success. We are thankful to the judges of this entire initiative. The judges will be, I think, introduced by the coordinators while we begin the debate and the presentation simultaneously. We thank the Tourism Committee of Bengal Chamber for coming up with such a wonderful idea, and we as a Chamber of Commerce who have been established in Kolkata since 1833 and have been working all throughout India and abroad with various kinds of initiatives have come forward with celebrating Swami Vivekananda's achievement because we truly believe in this. And as a chamber who has been there from 1833, I think is following its tradition, keeping the main theme that we have to recognize youth empowerment. We have to recognize the power of youth. With this, I would like to wish you all the very best, and let's continue with the day's proceedings. Thank you very much. Thank you, dignitaries on the dais.
Thank you, ma'am, for the vote of thanks. I'll be calling out the names of the students from participating colleges. Calling the names of the colleges.
Ashutosh College.
Yes, Ashutosh College, Bethune College. Please stand so that we can see all. So, students from Ashutosh College. Bethune College. Loreto College. St. Xavier's College. Okay. St. Xavier's University. Okay. St. Paul's College. And our very own college, Scottish Church College. All the best to each one of you, and we hope this is going to be a very insightful time for you.
জুরি নাম এখন বলে দেবো তো চারজনের নাম আছে 4 names আছে Students, please be seated. We will now be introducing our jury to you. Just please for 2 minutes be seated.
The jury today consists of Mr. Dhuti Banerjee, senior school teacher at Modern High School for Girls and lawyer at Honorable Calcutta High Court. Mr. Pinaki Bhattacharya, tourism researcher, author and member of the BCCNI National Tourism Committee. Dr. Ratna Sinha, fellow XLRI, ACC mentor and coach, HR advisory, mentor, wellness and communities, the Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Ms. Mohar Mukhopadhyay, head corporate communications, Bama Laurie Company Limited. We're very honored to have you all with us. Students, please follow this announcement. We are having the technical session, so the debate will be held in this room and paper presentations will be held in room number 9. So kindly proceed accordingly. Room number 9 is on the top floor. You'll have to take the stairs, okay?
Have been moderating a debate after a long time, so it's definitely an honor for me, and I'm certainly looking forward to today's session. Before we move on to the onset of the session of the debate, pronouncement of the rules and regulations would definitely be necessary at this point. Of course, it has been circulated to the participants, but yes, I would insist upon repeating. 2 participants would constitute a certain team. We had the provision of having 2 teams at max. Certain colleges have sent a singular team and certain colleges have sent 2 teams per se. There will be 2 rounds where there would be 1 preliminary round and there would be a final round. The first round, the time limit of speaking is 3 minutes plus 1 minute extra time, along with a separate provision for rebuttals or questions. And of course, 5 plus 1 minutes would be given for the finals, but that as a separate discussion would happen before the finals would take place. Prizes would be for the best speaker for the motion, the best speaker against the motion, the best team, and the most important and the most interesting part of today's debate is that if you have noticed, this is a trilingual debate. The medium of presentation can be English, Bengali, or Hindi. So we of course encourage diversity, and especially when we are coming to express our views or argumentate upon a certain topic, I think that's the most important thing that we need to take care of. With that, I welcome the judges to please be seated before we begin the debate. One of our judges has sir, is it? Yes, yes. Is there going to be a provision for reference to written material? I'm very sorry, that's not going to be the case, because that absolutely abolishes the very modus of debating. So no written material would be allowed. Of course, certain debates do allow pointers, but we will not be encouraging that here, unfortunately. Thank you. If there are any more queries and questions, please go ahead. Before the motion is announced and the debate is started, please shoot your questions. 3 plus 1. No, rebuttals will be later. 3 plus 1 minute extra. Yeah, rebuttals are essentially a Q&A session where questions will be asked to the speaker. The stance that the speaker is representing, the opposite stance might just go about and ask a question with regards to the content or the presentation of the speaker, as has been done. So rebuttal round would inherently consist of 1 to 2 questions depending upon the paucity of time. And yes, that will be an absolutely separate round that will be encouraged after the 3 plus 1 time that has already been set. So please do note that. Yes. Vivekananda can explore the connection of spirituality and tourism in India. What I would as a moderator be expecting from this motion is that a certain degree of disruption in the debate, considering the generic notion that has been put forward through the motion. The disruption and the argumentation is something that can make the motion stand out from both perspectives and both stances, and that is something which we will be definitely looking forward, and I'm pretty sure that the judges are also looking forward to the same. With that, the colleges participating are Loreto College, Bethune College, St. Xavier's University, St. Xavier's College, Ashutosh College, St. Paul's Cathedral Mission College, and of course our very own Scottish Church College. We are just waiting for the timer and the bell, and with that we'll begin. Few instructions. At 3 minutes the bell will go, and at 3 plus 1 I will do a right. So this is your first warning, and after 2 warnings you are supposed to stop and wrap up. So we begin with St. Xavier's College. The proposition may come up upon the dais. The first team will be St. Xavier's College, the proposition. The first team of the proposition. Yeah.
Announce your name to the judges, okay? Because they will write your name and also say whether you're speaking for or against. It's going to be helpful for you. You can announce the order.
All right. The order will be first we will have St. Xavier's College, the team 1. After that we will be having Loreto College. And we will be having Ashutosh College after that. We will be having Bethune 4th. We will be having team 1 of Scottish Church College 5th. We will be having St. Xavier's University on the 6th place. We will be having St. Paul's 7th. We will be having team 2 of St. Xavier's College 8th. And last but not the least, we'll be having Scottish Church College to conclude. That would be the order of speaking. And you may please.
I'm Kartika Gupta and I'm representing St. Xavier's College and I'm going for the motion. We begin? So before the opposition actually comes here and tries to detangle the entire topic and give us a very disruptive and detangle the entire situation and give us a rather delusional and unopinionated kind of a delusional propaganda which again restricts the ambit of the debate, let the proposition actually come here and redefine narratives and actually make you understand what sustainable tourism or even let's say sustainability looks like. Right? So sustainable tourism particularly deals with the economic, social as well as let's say the environmental perspective, which brings into a lot of impacts which are incurred and inferred upon the industry, the environment, the tourists involved as well as the people who are living there, let's say the local communities. Now before, since I don't really have rebuttals as of now and the opposition has not actually made any arguments, let me just reiterate the point that this entire motion is a basically the House believes motion. So the motion itself already stands on its own. The House already believes that Swami Vivekananda's concept of sustainability and sustainable tourism is actually something which is standing on its own. Now I will be raising my arguments on 3 primary constructives which again coincide and very well sit with what Swami Vivekananda had to offer in his stance itself. The first constructive being harmony with nature. So when we talk about Kerala's backwaters, which the people might be aware of, let's say the example of Kerala's backwaters which is overpopulated with over-tourism and so much of harmful effects with regard to population as well as the natural loss of habitat as well as the beauty of nature which is getting disintegrated with time. It was only Swami Vivekananda's concept of this environmental stewardship which brought in this breeze of let's say responsible tourism campaign where local communities assimilated and brought into concepts such as waste management, environmental protection and even let's say responsible boating, which not only makes the tourists as pilgrims, making them not leave any sort of let's say footprints behind but a positive impact behind. So let's say when we talk about sustainable tourism itself or let's say any kind of spiritual impact, the second constructive that I have to offer is in terms of the animal and human conflict. The second constructive will primarily deal with the respect we need to have towards all individuals, which is I think even Vivekananda believed in, firmly. He always reiterated on this. And I think with the increasing disparity among the rich and the poor and this always the selfish need that humans have of always imposing their wants, their desires on these animals, these ruthlessly always trying to navigate through their demands and their needs and leading to a loss of habitat, let's say. When we take the example of the Ranthambore National Park itself, where there has been a loss of creature, there's these majestic tigers which had to lose their life because, tourism, because of what tourism had to offer in terms of the capitalistic sense itself. And when we actually bring in and recall what Vivekananda had to offer in terms of universality as well as respect for all creatures, this is where local communities came in as guardians, as in charges, where they protected the ancestral lands as well as protected the tourism, where tourism flourishes, the animal kingdom thrives, and at the same time harmony reigns. And the last constructive that I have to offer is in terms of empowering these local communities. As I say, in this capitalistic world where people are so selfish and so profit oriented, I think there is an increasing disparity between the rich and the poor, which I think we all will firmly agree upon, right? And this is what Swami Vivekananda had to also offer, where the lower rungs of the society, the people of the lower strata had to be assimilated in a way that they too come up, they too feel empowered. And that only happens, let's say, in Rajasthan's local markets, where Vivekananda's views have always inspired so many people to bring them together, where there is a connection not just between the tourists and the local artisans, the craftsmen, but also supporting their livelihoods, right? The traditional arts, the culture, the heritage, everything gets assimilated together. So if you can only imagine the Himalayan vistas offering not just a scenic beauty or a trip, but also a beautiful spiritual introspection, which will create a pilgrimage
Ma'am,
not just
please
for your
wrap up.
body, but also for your soul. I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you so much. With that, I invite rebuttals. Yes. Is there just one rebuttal?
Lalita, modulus.
We will be beginning with St. Xavier's University.
Ma'am, that was a very powerful speech indeed. You gave us a lot of problems as to how tourism is failing behind in incorporating the lower strata of the society, and you spoke about how Vivekananda wanted to change it, but you gave us no model. I do not understand as to how your speech helps tourism as an industry in incorporating the ideals that Vivekananda left behind.
Right, thank you ma'am for the question. Firstly, what Vivekananda was proposing from the very beginning was not just a material quest, but also an inner quest which brings change from within. The model that I think the opposition has to offer is only in terms of exploitation. Basically, exploiting the poor, exploiting on others' resources, and that is the entire model that they have to reiterate upon. What Vivekananda always proposed was an inner quest for life, this growth that comes from within. Unless and until, there's popular phrase, charity begins at home. So if you cannot actually change yourself and look within and make that change from within, I don't think there is any concept of model as such which needs to thrive. Thank you.
I think with time we can encourage one more rebuttal, and that goes to Team 1 of Scottish Church College. Pass on the mic if...
Ma'am, your speech was actually very nice, but if you just actually focus on your speech, you just touch upon the environment. You did not mainly focus on the environment. But if we see in the present current scenario, we have seen that the environment is severely degrading right now. But see, first you have to listen, right?
Ma'am, you cannot
So how can we actually tackle it, focusing on the Swamiji's main concern on the spiritual tourism? How can we actually lead to sustainable development? Because currently the environment is severely hampered by such kind of tourism. So I would like to get your opinion.
Right. I think there are a lot of places which have already taken into account how the sustainable tourism takes place. Let's say we switch the mode of energy, right? We focus on energy conservation, we bring in solar panels, and I think a lot of schools, a lot of secondary primary schools at the very grassroots level itself are bringing about this change, right? And also I think, as I reiterated there, and I will say it again, change comes from within. This was an inner quest for life, for growth, for fulfillment, which Vivekananda always proposed. He's famous for his revolutionary ideas, where he said something like, playing football is better than reading the Bhagavad Gita itself. So I think that itself creates
All right, ma'am. Thank you. That's
last sentence.
That's it. Thank you. It's been very long. Yes, thank you. With that, I invite the opposition of the Team 1 of St. Xavier's College.
Good morning, sir. Understand one thing, the side proposition did a serious case concession when they came up and said about spirituality and connecting with the capitalism, right? That's what the side opposition is all about. That's what they told about capitalism. They said how changing times, and we need to mention 3 stakeholders, though even the side proposition is. The first important stakeholders are there. First, the tourists themselves. Second, the local communities. And third, the government. We'll go over each one of them, how that it affects each one of them. But understand from the side proposition's case is that we are not here to turn spirituality into a spectacle, a faith into a package deal, or lastly, a nature into a dumping ground, right? That's why I stand against emotion. There are a few things. The Indian tourism and connecting it with Vivekananda spirituality is undeniable. But here it's not about commercialization, it's about reverence to that. And that is why it's very, very important that we go over all the stakeholders in this debate and with various arguments. So I have three constructives here. Firstly, understand how that doing that in today's world or in 21st century leads to commodification of faith. Understand that what side proposition generally proposes in their speech is that when we connect and how Vivekananda's spirituality and harmony actually brings us, brings the faith together and it flourishes tourism and somehow magically it becomes sustainable in its own way. That's not the case. Why? Because understand that the moment you do that, the moment when you tell people that okay, we're going to take something from past and someone's past and implement that, it certainly turns into commercialized. Example, the one Nita Ambani Center, right? It was meant for bringing the traditional folklores or something. But what does this do is that when you take example of Yatra or something that Vivekananda did ages back and how he traveled, what does this do? This do is the private enterprises come in and makes that whole route a tourist attraction, makes people go around this and build actually monuments or places which is not true to what he did, but just where there is much more space and all that. So as a whole, as a foreigner, the second stakeholder, the tourist, come in and sees the perspective in a glass door view, right? They see what these companies are saying. They see what the profit-making incentives are saying. So at sitting me at home, I do not get to see actual places where Vivekananda went, actual people he helped, actual children or orphanages, and actual youth he helped. But what we see is just the radicalized version of what science proposition present in a classroom, right? Having said that, secondly, how it leads to cultural erosion, right? This brings me to the first stakeholder that I mentioned over here. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, that the local people to the where everywhere Vivekananda himself went to, Swamiji went to, they have their own ethnic background. They relate themselves to that. But when you do that, media and present scenario is controlled by the majority, right? They turn it into themselves. They show it which is best for them, thereby undermining the local tourists. The local tourists became the unknown. They don't know about the culture now. Only the profound guides who have studied ages and ages are the ones who can dictate these people. That's why taking something from them at that point, which has been 100 years ago, is actually what proposition is trying to do, is undermine not only Vivekananda's own exploration and policy, but also do the environmental peril in the same of when you bring more tourists and more in the package deal, you make it more environmentally harmful. So at the end of the day, it's what happening, what side proposition tries to protect is that, both is in harmony. They are not. Why? Because when you are doing that, you are not only dragging Vivekananda into dirty politics of now capitalism, but also making it more harmful for the nature. I respect.
Thank you so much, sir, for your profound speech. We open it to rebuttals. I would love to see some new hands. Yes, you are Bethune, Ashutosh College, yes. So please, another thing, if you're also putting forward rebuttals, it's really encouraged that you introduce yourself with your name and your college.
Namaskar, I am Suja Suchi De and I am from Ashutosh College. So my point is that there is spirituality. The word spirituality is completely missing from your debate. So will you emphasize on that?
Exactly my point, ma'am. We are talking about today's world, right? You take into spirituality from that, it turns into, it transforms into something very different, right? You go to therapy session and to earn spirituality, what you learn is just some gimmick or something that you are presented with all those glass doors and some organization they present to you, right? So, taking what Vivekananda said at that point of time about spirituality does not actually work here at this point of time to, sustain tourism or let's say explode that. What instead is side opposition trying to say is that we offer you solution, which side proposition is just about harmonizing and all that, which has been done by ages and it's not successful. If it has been successful, then this debate would not be happening if we can connect on it. So I keep that there and let's take about sustainable other tourism methods and respect Swamiji in its own right that what he did was very good in its own time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We would be encouraging one more rebuttal. We'll have Loreto College.
So considering that Swami Vivekananda's idea of spirituality is very different from our colloquial understanding of spirituality, considering he talked about servitude as spirituality, don't you think what spirituality and its absurd definition in today's world is contradictory to what he said as spirituality? And you're missing the point here, considering its servitude and service for the people.
Here's the thing, ma'am. When we say it's about servitude or let's say spirituality, that's what the side opposition is trying to make. That at this point of time, if you bring those things into this perspective, whole thing changes, right? It is being radicalized at this point of time. This is a capitalist society. You cannot undermine and compare what he said at that point of time and employ it here. Even the Einstein's theories are different now. They have seen in different perspectives, right? So you cannot take that and put it, okay, so meanings of service has changed. Meaning of servitude, what we see as today has also changed. So, to respect Swamiji, to give what he is and what he has done, it's very important that we see in a perspective of that time, that frame of reference and respect him for that and do not connect and try to drag his name and undermine his achievements in the current time with tourism.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks.
The last one is just one word. You were very good speaker.
Right.
But why you have to carry that piece of paper in your hand?
Okay,
That will give you some more
No.
confidence.
I took the reporters down from the first speaker. So I thought that maybe I could incorporate it. But then I thought that it's more needed for me to
Thank you so much, sir, for saying that, because I would be saying that later. Secretary of the Debating Society, along with me, moderating this debate would also be Moinak Bhattacharya, the Deputy Secretary of the Debating Society of Scottish Church College. Moinak, please do introduce
Hello
yourself.
everyone, so sorry, the new age COVID is Bengali traffic, so I'll just get started. As Rajkishore has already intimated you about the rules and regulations of the debate, I hope the debate is going very well. There are a lot of nuances to the topic which I hope you can deconstruct with conventional debating methods. So how many speeches are over?
Just one college, St.
Okay.
Xavier's
Okay,
first
okay.
team.
So then
We would proceed with... Thank you so much for your fine speeches, St. Xavier's College. We proceed with Loreto College, inviting the proposition to come up first. We can, as an audience, show a little more enthusiasm. I know it gets boring, but have fun.
Need a microphone? No, I'm fine.
Your name?
I'm Chandraboli Majumdar of Loreto College and I'll be speaking for the motion. Okay, starting in 3, 2, 1. What previous speakers have completely missed is to go back and genuinely go through what the Yatra of Vivekananda was
You can turn around tongues just like
and
that.
how he defined spirituality. Jawaharlal Nehru described him as a bridge between the past of India and her present. So let me take you back to the past. In his Yatra, in Vivekananda's Yatra, he was appalled by the situation of the downtrodden masses, by their poverty, and he believed that the only way to uplift them was to provide them with life-giving spirituality. He believed, and what was his definition of spirituality? Spirituality not in the sense that we see today. Spirituality in the sense of servitude, service for people, unity with the universe and nature. He believed that people, downtrodden, the masses, require two kinds of knowledge. Number one, knowledge that would allow them to be economically sufficient. Number two, knowledge that would allow them to have faith in themselves. Faith that they lost over centuries of oppression that they suffered. Now how is tourism related to this? Tourism essentially acts as a vehicle that allows us
to achieve the ideals and goals that were set forward by Vivekananda. 3 dimensions. Number 1, economic sufficiency. Something that he strongly believed in, something that he believed was his spirituality and his life's purpose. How? How does tourism help economic self-sufficiency? It allows sustainable tourism, not just tourism. Sustainable tourism allows local communities to thrive. That's number 1. Number 2, nature. He said that if you do not care for nature, she becomes your slave. Nature, something that is harmed by tourism, but sustainable tourism, when done properly, is something that allows you to preserve and conserve nature. Nature, something that was again a part of his definition of spirituality. We need to remember that spirituality in this context is what Vivekananda believed to be spirituality. Now this is the past, right? The 3rd dimension being Vivekananda was responsible for bringing India out of cultural isolation. He introduced Indian culture to the West. He encouraged the youth of India to explore, conserve and protect India's heritage and culture, something that can be achieved through tourism and travel. Now let's come back to the present. Let's connect all of this with what is happening now. Post-pandemic tourism. Post-pandemic tourism is a completely different ballgame from what it used to be before. Post-pandemic tourism, the trend has shifted to more spiritual tourism, eco-tourism, tourism with regards to nature, and less business tourism. We have speakers come up and tell us how tourism is completely capitalistic now. No, ladies and gentlemen, tourism is slowly shifting. The trends are shifting. Business tourism, urban tourism, the trend has a downward slope. It is reducing after the pandemic. So we have to keep in mind the post-pandemic situation. Another thing, something that is very important to this topic, gentrification and touristification of places. What is gentrification? It is when the personality of a place entirely changes because of touristifying a place. Now, Swami Vivekananda in his version of spirituality was completely against it. This is something that is being done in Arunachal Pradesh right now. In using policies, government policies to ensure sustainable tourism, keeping in mind something as harmful as gentrification. Now, Vivekananda's ideals, while might not have explicitly talked about sustainable tourism, it definitely talks about it. He talks about something, he doesn't talk about it, but you can relate it to something known as experiential tourism. What is experiential tourism? Experiential tourism is when you have to experience the entire place from the grassroots level. Staying in homestays instead of hotels and Airbnbs. Homestays, something that is increasing in popularity day by day. Something that allows you to experience culture from the very grassroots level. So ladies and gentlemen, while the definition of spirituality might be very stunted in us, Vivekananda's definition of spirituality was as vast as our country of India itself. Thank you.
You would be encouraging rebuttals, Scottish Church College Team 2.
Thank you, ma'am, for your speech. But you also mentioned how, about how tourism, though provides employment to people, but it is, you also talked about ecotourism. Let's say if you are going as a tourist to a place to experience nature, where are you going? You are going into a jungle or mountains. Are you not, through ecotourism, actually harming nature more than, providing people with employment, or just for experiencing nature, you are actually violating it for the animals and the creatures that are in the forest or in the mountains?
Thank you for the question. The very definition of ecotourism is tourism in nature done responsibly. Ecotourism does not refer to tourism that just simply goes into nature and destroys it. That is why ecotourism, a new term that is being popularized lately, has everything to do with sustainable development and preserving nature while also experiencing it and enriching oneself through it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll have Team 2 of St. Xavier's College.
Don't you think relying on someone who was from a completely different era to cater modern day tourism is valuable?
I think certain people and their words are timeless regardless of what century we're living in, not because of exactly what he said, but because of the essence of what he said, which lives on and will continue to live on far after the
With that, I invite the opposition speaker from Loreto College. Do introduce yourself and begin with it.
A very good evening, a very good morning to all present here. I, Sanjula Shankar, am representing the side opposition which stands against the motion. Members of the House and members of my side, it's very important for us before we get to breaking down the motion is It's very important for us to understand the motion. In the motion, we're talking about the Yatra of Swami Vivekananda and how we can explore by the means of what he had done back in the day, how we can explore spirituality in tourism. Before we begin, it's also important for us to understand that a motion which is as multi-dimensional in nature as this one is a loaded motion, which means it's much technical and logical to break it down. The idea and concept of spirituality that Swami Vivekananda had introduced to us back in the day is very different from what we follow today. Same goes with the idea of tourism that existed back in the day and how contrasting it is in nature to what we follow today. What side proposition missed while they were going on about the ideologies of Swami Vivekananda was the relevance of spirituality in tourism today and how we are to inculcate it or to promote it. One of the major differences that we can draw from what used to happen back in the day and what is happening today is the idea of spirituality is taken synonymous to the idea of religion, to the idea of religious tourism today. While that is not the case. Spirituality and religious tourism are different, but since we do not possess the particular awareness and information about it, the meanings of the two concepts are interchanged today.
If you want, we can give you some time, we can pause the time so you can gather
Yes,
your thoughts
exactly.
and please restart.
We
your
can have
speech.
another go if that's. Team 1 of Scottish Church College.
Thank you, ma'am. A very good morning to all the juries and respected speakers. My name is Shrestha Gopal from the Scottish Church Team 1 College. So, ma'am, you are talking about that this is the era of logical and rationalism. So, considering the fact that when a place is designated a tourist region, substantially there will be a secondary tourism business will also come, right? Which again not only give a new employment to the surrounding areas, but also it will give a maintenance of that particular area as well. Thus, we can see the fact that there will be a sustainable development in the particular region only. So, how can you say that this time it's not very logical to talk with the what Swamiji's past had happened and it cannot be now.
Please keep your question short.
Yeah, like normal. Yeah.
What your question talks about, it's actually a deviation from the motion today. We are even though sustainable development is included under the plethora of tourism, we are not discussing that explicitly today. What I meant by when I said we are at a difference between what used to happen back in the day and what is happening today is in regard to the taste and preference patterns of the tourists today, the global and national trends that are going in regarding tourism today. The idea of what I was talking about was the idea of spiritualism in tourism. So I hope that clears your question.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll have St. Xavier's College, Team 1.
Hello, great speech, ma'am. Giving you the benefit of the doubt that in case the meaning of spirituality has been interchanged with religious boundaries, etc., don't you think that religion itself or any form of spirituality actually gives you a path of guidance? Does not actually, lead you, let's say, astray from compromising your morals or your values? Any institution, any college you sit in, it will always have a certain lineage towards a certain spiritual, let's say, path or religion, because it gives you a scope of living. Don't you think that's very important today in this capitalist setup where we tend to deviate from the meaning of life itself?
Sure, it gives you an idea of spiritualism and in your day-to-day activities wherein spirituality can actually help you on a personal and on a combined basis. But what is its relevance in tourism? When we are here to talk about tourism, especially the ideas of Swami Vivekananda, no one is denying that, no one is refuting that. All I'm saying is that what it used to be on paper and what is happening today is different. We cannot sustain spirituality in tourism just by following the ideals that were introduced to us by Swami Vivekananda. The implementation of those ideals are more important, for which, as the motion here speaks today, retracing the Yatra of Swami Vivekananda, it does not stand in coordinates with the concept of spiritualism in tourism. Hence, the motion stands refuted.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, Loreto College. Another reminder for the rebuttal round. Please keep your questions short to the point. Do not turn your questions into a speech. Remember that there will be no marks for the question, but there will be marks for the answers. So it is really not going to help, right? So use your rebuttals wisely. That's all I would encourage. With that, yeah, Moinak.
One advice would be to try to keep it between 1 minute, the answer, because we want to judge you separately on the rebuttal section as separate from what you're speaking on. So with that, we have the next speaker, which is Ashutosh College. First, we'll be having the speaker for the motion. Okay, Junaid Javed, who will be speaking for the motion.
Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara. Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. A very good morning to all of you present here. I am Junaid Javed from Ashutosh College and I am speaking for the motion. Brothers and sisters of India, I stand here as a very blessed speaker because this is the very own college of our Swami Vivekananda. And ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you that there was no bigger ambassador for tourism and spirituality in the whole world than Swamiji himself. And let me remind you of the day when he was born. The stars were blotted out, the clouds were covering clouds. It was darkness, vibrant sonnet, and the great saint was born. And the saint who traveled all over India to uplift poverty, to help people, to help them identify God. What was religion for him? It was something which was within us. It was not something which need to be taught to us, but it was something that we need to feel. Like, let me tell you an incident. Like, my own great-grandfather's elder brother was Swami Raghavananda. His name was Sitapati Banerjee and he was a Nishan scholar, and he was so influenced by Swamiji's principles and his ideals that he took sannyas under him and he traveled all over India being his disciple, and they together laid the foundation of the Mayavati Ashram, Advaita Ashram in the Almora mountains in Himalayas. So ladies and gentlemen, he was the person who helped people recognize the beauty and the sectors of India. Why go to other countries? Why go to other places when we have a lot to travel in India? He traveled the entirety of India and he made people realize that there was enough almost here. And when he went to the Chicago Parliament of Religions, he saw the Bhagavad Gita being kept at the bottom of the pile of books. And when he was being asked that, see, your book is being kept at the bottom, he replied that our Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavad Gita of India, has the power to shoulder all the other religions. We accept universal religions. We accept God as a whole. God is like an ocean where people are like rivers, religions are like rivers, and they flow out, they merge into the same ocean. And what religion is something that is in our hearts. So milk color is white and the color of water is transparent. That is what religion is. Religion is something that does not change. It is the essence of serving humanity. Shabar upore manushyattva tahar upore nai. Arise, awake and stop not till the goal is reached. A very important thing that we all need to remember at this modern scenario, that God is one. We all call him by different names. And in the name and in the teachings of Swamiji, we all need to understand that we are all Indians and we are not separate. Porushpor amra porno amra porshi, ar porshi to arshir muk. So ladies and gentlemen, let us all unite under the guidance of Swamiji. Let us all remember him. And many of you must be telling us that, or proposition must be telling us that no, it does not lead to an important role in the spirituality and tourism. But why not? He is someone whose ideals will live for generations to come. He is not someone who had been born and he left, so his ideals will be lost. He is someone who will live. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram, Patit Pavan Sita Ram, Ishwar Allah Tero Naam, Sabko Sumati De Bhagwan. For him, God was one. And ladies and gentlemen, Swami Vivekananda is the only region I visit spiritual places of Hinduism. And being a Muslim, I respect and I pray to all the Hindu gods and goddesses. All credit goes to Swami Vivekananda. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your fine speech. We will be encouraging rebuttals. Bethune.
ইন্ডিয়াতে কিন্তু হিন্দুইজম অ্যান্ড মুসলিম এই দুটো রিলিজিয়ান কিন্তু নেই, আরও রিলিজিয়ান আছে, জৈনিজম, শিখজম অ্যান্ড আদার্স। তাহলে লাস্টে যেটা বলে শেষ করলে যে তুমি মুসলিম হওয়া সত্ত্বেও হিন্দু মন্দিরগুলোতে ভিজিট করো, তাহলে শিখ গুরুদ্বারা বা আরও আরও অনেক রিলিজিয়ন আছে, তাহলে সেই ব্যাপারটা কি?
থ্যাংক ইউ ফর ইয়োর কোয়েশ্চেন। আমি প্রত্যেকটা ধর্মের মন্দির, মসজিদ, গুরুদ্বারা, মোনাস্ট্রি, চার্চ সব কিছু ভিজিট করি। আর এখানে আমি হিন্দু মুসলিমের কথাটা এই কারণে বললাম, কারণ ভারতবর্ষে আমরা দেখেছি অনেক দিন ধরে দ্বন্দ্ব চলছে। হিন্দু আর মুসলিম কখনো শত্রু ছিল না, তারা কোনো কারণে কেউ কেউ ছিল টেররিস্ট, ঔরঙ্গজেবের মতো লোকজন যারা মন্দির ভেঙেছেন, তারা একটা রাইভালরি ক্রিয়েট করার চেষ্টা করেছেন। কিন্তু এই কারণে আমরা কখনো পর নই। আর আমি স্বামীজির আদর্শে এই কারণে চললাম, আর এই কারণে এখানে আমি হিন্দুইজমের কথা বললাম, কারণ এই ভারতবর্ষে আমরা দেখতে পাচ্ছি যে সবসময় একটা রাজনীতিক টালমাটাল, যে হিন্দু আর মুসলিম সবসময় শত্রু। তো এই কারণে আমি এটাই বলতে চাই যে কোনো ধর্ম হোক, আমাদের সবথেকে বড় ধর্ম আমরা মানুষ, হিউম্যানিটি অ্যাবভ এভরি আদার রিলিজিয়ন, লাভ ইজ দ্য গ্রেটেস্ট রিলিজিয়ন। এটাই আমি বলতে চাইলাম যে স্বামীজি যেটা আমাদের শিখিয়েছেন যে ঈশ্বরকে নিজের মতো করে চেনা, নিজেকে ভালোবেসে চেনা, নিজের মধ্যে ঈশ্বর আছে, প্রত্যেকের মধ্যে ঈশ্বর আছে, সেটাই আমি বলতে চাইলাম। থ্যাংক ইউ।
Thank you, sir.
I think I don't need a mic. Junaid is a very good speaker, but let me tell you something. That is, when in a debate, when you were talking about a particular topic, let us not divert from the topic much. What you are saying is very relevant, there is no doubt. But just now what you said about Aurangzeb, that is not a right information. For your information, Aurangzeb, whatever we learn in history is whatever is being taught to us. But whatever is being excavated now, they are much different from what we had been taught at one point of time. Aurangzeb happened to be one of the most secular monarch of Mughals. The number of temples he has brought down, he had brought down more number of mosques, for your information. So when you are referring something, please be very sure about the facts and incidents.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for your extremely valuable input. We will have St. Xavier's University. Sir, I would like to encourage everyone to speak in their mics because I'm pretty sure people at the back cannot hear it. So,
okay, so this is Jyotiraditya from St. Xavier's University. So Junaid, right? Your name. That was a very impactful speech from your end. But I would genuinely seek one prominent answer from you. What is this one major teaching, be it spiritualistic or a very practical teaching from Swami Vivekananda's Yatra retracing, that would differentiate between migration and normal travel? Understand what migration is from one place to another. Who all the other people who are the stakeholders for that particular thing, and who are the people who actually genuinely want to travel, irrespective of spirituality. So if you could just tell me.
Thank you for your question, sir. For your information, Vivekananda led the foundation of the Ramakrishna Mission, and it has over 265 centers all over the world. And for your information, and people, all of you must have heard of Oyo, and we all know that it is one of the leading hotels or rooms for bookings. And the reason for the most number of bookings there is for religious purposes. People book hotels, and people mostly travel in India. I'm talking about India, not about the world, where people go out for vacation just for relaxation and having a leisure time. For India, one of the main reasons is that people want to visit spiritual shrines. And let me tell you, the footfall at the Vivekananda Rock was 21 lakhs. Is that not enough for a place to be laid down by Swamiji, to be called a proper place for tourism?
no, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for your speech. We'll invite the opposition.
We now have Ashutosh Kumar Singh speaking for the motion. Will you require a mic?
Also for the rebuttals, even if you feel like you're confident without a mic, I would encourage everyone to speak with a mic, because people at the back, even if they say they can hear, they cannot hear.
Good afternoon, this is Ashutosh speaking against the motion. What Vivekananda did with his traveling, he attained spiritualism. He attained peace of mind, spirit and soul, and he incorporated his education and his learning as a young charismatic monk and left his footprints all over the India and all over the world. We have to understand in today's subset what India understands with spiritualism and tourism is. It actually means spiritual tourism, and one of the subset of spiritual tourism is religious tourism. There are various disadvantages to religious or spiritual tourism. If you are going to attain a sustainable tourism developed India, so the disadvantages will be, it gives you a fickle economic mindset, because when you are into spiritual tourism, the tourism from different countries will only be dependent on their economy, on their understanding of our belief and our spirituality. So it gives a fickle understanding of economy. Above all, in India, most of the caterers of tourism are unorganized. So you cannot sum up the money. You cannot know where things are going wrong and where things are going right. So how will you make the framework for sustainable tourism? How will you make policies? How will you make laws for sustainable tourism? Next, what you mean by spirituality is harmony, right? The tourism in harmony. So if some other people from other geopolitical side, socio-economic side of a nation, they travel to different place, a different destination, and they are the host tourist, the host who are hosting the tourists, they feel like the person is overpowering our culture. That will bring discomfort and disharmony in that spiritual tourism. So it is, in a nutshell, academics and laureates and those literature people will tell you spirituality and tourism on the paths of Vivekananda is easy to attain. But yes, it is easy, but it is easy in a small format, not in a country like India, where 650 million people on day-to-day basis, they travel from one place to another. There, how will you sum up, or how will you be capable to match the supply and demand of each and every traveler when every industry, be it tourism industry, which is so extravagant and so charismatic, it is such unorganized that you won't even know how much a broker who is giving you tickets for the airplanes from one place to another, how much he is earning. Not even government knows about it. It is such unorganized. So how you gonna carry up with economy when you are talking about tourism, and how you gonna carry up the sustainability when in nutshell it is valid for a small and very small region and very small landmarks. Thank you.
St. Xavier's College.
So great speech. Thank you for the speech. But don't you think the government, who does not actually care about people at this point, we have had different, movements, Garibi Hatao, 5-year plans, but the poverty actually remains pretty much the same in today's date itself. So don't you think something is better than absolutely nothing, where this sort of sustainable tourism actually provides livelihoods to these local communities, the local people? So whatever little amount of employment that they are getting, whatever little amount of sustenance they are getting is way better than remaining unemployed at all.
What she talked about was employment. I hope we remember that Asia's largest slum is in India, and it is being packaged as a tourist spot. So how can she talk? She's talking about sustainable tourism, but at the same point of time, she is talking about employment. But the India's largest or Asia's largest slum is also providing employment to other people who are acting as a guide. So it's very contradictory to what she is saying. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Team 2 of Scottish Church College.
in your speech, deviating from the central topic of sustainability, in the first argument you equated religious tourism with spirituality, and secondly, in your second argument, you basically said that spirituality is the reason whereby people feel culturally threatened. Where is the relevance between the two arguments?
I said spiritual tourism and religious tourism is a subset of spiritual tourism. In India, people take spirituality and religion on one hand and other hand. And the question of yours was how does it bring discomfort, right? The relevance, this is the relevance.
No crosstalk.
So this is the relevance, that in India, the proper mindset, the capitalistic mindset, or whatever mindset you may carry or find it as, people take spirituality and religion as same. And honestly, it is same.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Just one question before we proceed with the next speaker. Do we have St. Paul's College here today? The team of St. Paul's College? Oh, we have. Okay, okay. Thank you, thank you.
So it was all right. On the discretion of the judge, we will encourage one more question coming from the proposition speaker of Loreto House. Sir, if you could please come up again if that's not an inconvenience.
So you right now mentioned that spirituality and religion are honestly the same. But don't you think spirituality is a very subjective, personal thing that can vary from person to person, whereas religion is a more concretized, politicalized concept in today's day and age? Don't you think they're two very different things?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Okay. So so we have the next speaker, which is so we are done with Ashutosh College. We next have Bethune College. So we'll call up the speaker who will be speaking for the motion. We have who? Ashutosh?
Yes, you are scheduled for later.
Yes, you are scheduled. Okay. Chandrima Ghosh speaking for the motion. You may start.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Chandrima Ghosh from Bethune College, and I am going to speak for the motion. Swami Vivekananda stands as an inspiration for all of us. His teachings and beliefs inspires all of us, and we still follow it today. He, in his lifetime, has traveled to a lot of places in India as well as to other foreign countries. And there, he had inspired a lot of people. When he went to Chicago in the World Parliament of Religions, he had delivered a speech which started with Sisters and Brothers of America. And we remember it still now. After that, India came to the forefront of the world stage. Many people started to know India. When Swami Vivekananda went to London, he met Margaret Elizabeth Noble, whom we know as Sister Nivedita. She was so inspired by the beliefs and teachings of Vivekananda. She came to Calcutta. So we can understand that how the spiritual beliefs and teachings which Swami Vivekananda delivered actually motivated people to come to India, to explore India and to enrich the tourism in India. Swami Vivekananda actually brought up the rich heritage culture of India, which inspired people to explore India more. Moreover, when Swami Vivekananda started his journey in India, he started with Varanasi. And there he went to the places where Gautam Buddha and Adi Shankara had preached their teachings and all. And there many people were actually inspired. Next, he went to Hathras, and the station master of Hathras, Sharat Chandra Gupta, he was so inspired that he told him that I want to be your disciple. And actually he turned out to be the first disciple of Swami Vivekananda. And now we know him as Swami Saradananda. So we can actually understand that how Swami Vivekananda actually established a connection between spirituality and tourism. He himself actually told that we need to explore other countries and even our own country, because in order to build a proper nation, we have to understand how other nations are working. He actually said it. Moreover, when he went to Kanyakumari, on a last bit of rock, he sat there and he meditated, and he saw a awakened India. And now most of us go and visit that place, and we know it as Vivekananda Memorial Rock in Kanyakumari. Many people from around the world actually come to visit that place only. And so even where Swami Vivekananda went, many people actually come to see, because they know that those are places of spirituality where Swami Vivekananda went. Ramakrishna Mission and Belur Math. People come from foreign places in our India. Even we, in our lifetime, once we want to go there and visit there. Why? Because Swami Vivekananda actually told us to explore areas, and we also want to go there where Swami Vivekananda actually went. So we can understand that Swami Vivekananda, how beautifully he had established a connection between spirituality and tourism. He tells us to be considerate to all the religions, and that if we love creatures and the people around us, we automatically worship God. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We will have Team 2 of Scottish Church College.
Thank you, ma'am, for your speech, but I do not have a question as such, but I just want to make a correction in your speech. You mentioned Ishwar Chandra Gupta, right?
Sharat
Chandra Gupta, I'm sorry. And you mentioned that he was
Station
your
master
Shami.
of-
Yes, and you called him Shami Sharodananda. He was actually Shami Shodananda. That's just a small
Okay,
correction.
Thank you.
Sir, rebuttal rounds do not encourage corrections. If there is a correction to be made, that will be noted by the judges themselves. So, if there is a question with regards to the content of the speech which you might seek to oppose with regard to your stance, that is something that will be encouraged in the rebuttal round. Thank you. We'll have Loreto.
Thank you for your speech, ma'am. Focusing on what you said, it brought out the idea of what Swamiji propagated. There is no denying that Swamiji channelized spirituality into tourism, but my question today is, what is the relevance of the ideologies that Swamiji had put forth in spiritual tourism today? That's what we're here to discuss today, right?
I mentioned it that Swami Vivekananda told that in order to make a great nation or a good nation, you need to explore other countries and other nations as well. So following that belief or that quote, we can understand that it is still relevant in today's times.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We will not be encouraging any more rebuttals. We invite the opposition speaker from Bethune.
We now have Prajukta Pal speaking against the motion.
What is the medium of communication that you will be using? English? Bengali. So please do announce that, your medium, introduce yourself and your medium of speech.
আমি প্রযুক্তা পাল, বেথুন কলেজের স্টুডেন্ট। আমি আজকে মোশনটির এগেনস্টে বলবো বেঙ্গলি মিডিয়ামে। স্বামী বিবেকানন্দ একজন পরিব্রাজক ছিলেন। তিনি ভারতবর্ষ এবং সারা পৃথিবীর বিভিন্ন দেশে ঘুরেছেন। সেখানকার বিভিন্ন মতাদর্শকে যেমন ভারতবর্ষে এনেছেন, তেমন ভারতবর্ষেরও বিভিন্ন মতাদর্শ বাইরে প্রচার করেছেন। কিন্তু বর্তমানে যদি আমরা দেখি যে বর্তমানে সোশ্যাল মিডিয়ার ব্যবহার এত বেড়েছে যে মানুষকে এক স্থান থেকে অন্য স্থানে ট্রাভেল করে এই ধরনের তথ্য বা মতাদর্শ আদান প্রদান করতে হয় না, সেগুলো সোশ্যাল মিডিয়ার মাধ্যমেই মানুষ জানতে পারে। তাছাড়া এখন যদি ট্যুরিজমের কথায় যাই, এখন অধিকাংশ মানুষই বেড়াতে যান নিজের কর্মব্যস্ততার মাঝে যে কদিন ছুটি পান সেই সময়ের মধ্যে কিছু এন্টারটেনমেন্টের জন্য। আর যেহেতু মানুষ অল্প দিন সময় নিয়ে যান, সেই জন্য তার যে জায়গাগুলো খুব পরিচিত সেই জায়গাগুলোতেই তারা বেশি যান, আর এবং বিভিন্ন জায়গা এক্সপ্লোর করারও তাদের সময় হয় না। তাছাড়া এই একঘেয়ে কাজকর্মের মধ্যে থেকে অনেকেরও সেই ইনসাইটটি নষ্ট হয়ে যায় যে বিভিন্ন জায়গায় পর্যবেক্ষণ করার ক্ষমতা, আর বিভিন্ন জায়গায় পর্যবেক্ষণ করার ক্ষমতা তাদের নষ্ট হয়ে যায়। আর তাছাড়া এখন যে সাস্টেনেবল ট্যুরিজমের কথাটি অনেকে বললো, সাস্টেনেবল ট্যুরিজমটা কিন্তু খাতায় কলমে আছে। আমরা যদি বিভিন্ন জায়গায় গিয়ে দেখবো মানুষজন একই জায়গায় একই সিজনের মধ্যে অনেক মানুষ ভিড় করছেন। তাছাড়া তারা জায়গাটিকে নোংরা করছেন। কোনো যদি জীবজন্তু কোনো যদি পশু পাখি কোনো যদি চিড়িয়াখানা বা অন্য কোনো জায়গায় যাওয়া হয় তাহলে দেখবো তারা জীবজন্তুকে বিরক্ত করার চেষ্টা করছে। এটি কিন্তু মোটেই স্বামীজির মতাদর্শের সঙ্গে মেলে না। তাছাড়া স্বামীজির যে বিখ্যাত উক্তিটি আছে আমরা জানি, জীবে প্রেম করে যেই জন সেই জন সেবিছে ঈশ্বর। সেই কথা মতো আমরা যদি দেখি মানুষ কিন্তু এখন গাছপালা কেটে ঘর বাড়ি কারখানা ইত্যাদি বানাচ্ছে, পশু পাখিকে হত্যা করছে। কিন্তু বর্তমানে জনসংখ্যা এতই বেড়ে গেছেন না কেন, মানুষকে তারা বাধ্য হচ্ছে গাছপালা কেটে ঘর বাড়ি বানাতে বা কলকারখানা তৈরি করতে। আর অনেকের পশু পাখির মাংস ভক্ষণ করে। সুতরাং এইটির মাধ্যমে মানুষকে ইমোরাল বলা চলে না, মানুষ এটি কিন্তু করতে বাধ্য হচ্ছে। তাছাড়া সবথেকে বড় যে কথাটি, অনেস্টি ইজ দ্য বেস্ট পলিসি, এই কথাটি কিন্তু এখন হাস্যকর হয়ে গেছে। অনেস্টি যে কোথায় কিভাবে রয়েছে সেটা আমরা সবাই জানি, সেটা আর বলার অপেক্ষা রাখে না। আর এখনকার বেশিরভাগ মানুষই লোভী, স্বার্থপর এরকম হয়ে গেছে। তার ফলে যে কজন মানুষ একটু শুভবুদ্ধি সম্পন্ন বা সৎ ছিল তারা পরিস্থিতির চাপে অসৎ হয়ে পড়তে বাধ্য হচ্ছে। কারণ আমরা দেখি যে অসংখ্য অসৎ মানুষের ভিড়ে একজন সৎ মানুষ যদি নিজের মতাদর্শ জারি করার চেষ্টা করে, নিজের সততাকে বজায় রাখার চেষ্টা করে, তাহলে শেষ পর্যন্ত সমাজের কাছে সে কিন্তু বোকা মানুষ বলে পরিচিত হয়। শেষ পর্যন্ত কিন্তু সে বোকা বলে পরিচিত হয়। তাই আরেকটি কথাও তিনি বলেছিলেন যে ভার্চুয়াস মানুষই কিন্তু শেষ পর্যন্ত জয়লাভ করে। এটি কিন্তু সত্যি না, কারণ অনেক ক্ষেত্রেই আমরা দেখি সততা বা সত্যের জয় হয় না। বিভিন্ন বিচার ব্যবস্থার রায় থেকে শুরু করে বিভিন্ন ক্ষেত্রে কিন্তু সততা বা সত্যের জয় হয় না। তাছাড়া উনি লিডারশিপ সম্পর্কে বলেছেন যে একজন লিডারকে হতে হবে যে তার সাবঅর্ডিনেটকে সবসময় সাপোর্ট করবে এবং সে নেতৃত্ব দানের থেকে তাদের পাশে থেকে তাদের সঙ্গে কাজটি করার চেষ্টা করবে। কিন্তু আজকের লিডারশিপ, বিশেষ করে রাজনীতির ক্ষেত্রে যে লিডারশিপ, সেইটা আমরা দেখলেই বুঝতে পারবো যে আজকাল লিডাররা কিন্তু মোটেও তা নয়। তারা দুর্নীতির মাধ্যমে বা ঘুষদানের মাধ্যমে বিভিন্ন মাধ্যমে অংশগ্রহণ করছে, কিন্তু শেষ পর্যন্ত তারা লিডারশিপের যে অরিজিনাল মানেটি সেইটি কিন্তু বজায় রাখতে পারছে না। আর আজকের যুগ কিন্তু অনেক চেঞ্জ হয়ে গেছে। বিবেকানন্দ যে স্বর্ণ যুগের মানুষ ছিলেন, আজকে কিন্তু সেই যুগটি আর নেই। তাই স্বামী বিবেকানন্দের সেই মতাদর্শের উপর ভিত্তি করে যদি আজকের যুগকে আমরা বিচার করতে চাই তাহলে কিন্তু সেটি সম্ভব নয়।
থ্যাংক ইউ ম্যাম। With the rebuttals, we'll have St. Paul's going for the rebuttal.
গুড মর্নিং প্যানেল অ্যান্ড দ্য ফ্লোর অ্যান্ড মাই রেসপেক্টেড জাজেস। প্রথমেই তুমি খুব ভালো বলেছো। আর আমার একটা প্রশ্ন যেখানে রয়ে গেল সেটা হচ্ছে মাংস ভক্ষণ করার সঙ্গে ট্যুরিজমের যে রেলেভেন্সটা তুমি যদি একটু বলো।
No cross talk.
Only one question and one answer, please. তোমার কি উত্তর দেওয়া হয়ে গেছে? আচ্ছা, ওকে। One more question. Okay. আশুতোষ কলেজ।
ধন্যবাদ, তোমার মতামত শুনে খুব ভালো লাগলো। আমার একটাই প্রশ্ন, তুমি বললে চিড়িয়াখানা গিয়ে বা বিভিন্ন জায়গায় গিয়ে আমরা যখন ভিড় করছি বা জায়গা নোংরা করছি, তার মানে কি আমরা কি চিড়িয়াখানা যাব না, বেড়াতে যাব না?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, we now have Scottish Church College Team 1. We have Ghausia Parveen speaking for the motion, or Shresthargo Paul speaking for the motion.
The applause could really be louder. Come on. Can
First home team, please.
Okay, a very good afternoon everyone. I am Shresthargo Paul from the host college itself, and I will start in 3, 2, 1. Okay, while the debate is going on according to what is the benefits of the Path Yatra of Swami Vivekananda ji and what is its beneficial for the tourism sector, the one thing I get to know while researching about the fact that Vivekananda ji was very much impressed by the Upanishads, and there is a famous term over there is that Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, one earth, one family. So in practical world, when he went outside, when he met the various cultures of India, very diversified regions of India, he can not only acknowledge the real essence of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam in the Indian perspective, but it was the stepping stone for national unity and nationalism, which will again give a rise to the concept, which will again acknowledged by the future Indian political, philosophical leaders and scholars. And scholars like Rabindranath Tagore and the leaders and Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose also acknowledge the fact that they have been influenced by the concept. Now this concept is called the universal singularity and creative unity, which speaks about the mutual coordination, mutual cooperation without compromising the future. Means sustainable development, the core modern concept of sustainable development. So again, now let's see, Rabindranath Tagore has beautifully portrayed Vivekananda's perspective of Path Yatra. That is, if you want to study India, you have to study Vivekananda. Because in Vivekananda you will find every positivity of India, but you will find nothing negativity. And I think it also, the influence is so much, the Vivekananda's Path Yatra has been so much influence for Rabindranath Tagore, that there is a famous anthem we all know, we used to sing standing up. There it says, from the Sindhus and Punjab, from the regions to the Gujarat and Maharashtra, from the region of the Dravidian states to the Utkal and Banga, from the hills of Vindhyas to the mountains of Himachals, all are coming together. They are very different, they are very diverse, but they are coming together praying to the Bharat's Bhagya Vidhata for the betterment of India, for the nationalistic views. So the thing is that these are the concepts which has really impacted. They are not idealistic, to be honest, but yes, they have been impacting. The leaders like Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, he acknowledged that his perspective of nationalism has come direct from Vivekananda ji. The concept of spirituality, what has been mentioned over here, is very different of what Vivekananda's spirituality. It primarily focuses on the two doctrines. One is seva and one is samriddhi. Another thing is that we have to do seva, and according to Netaji, the seva is for his countrymen. So this insisted him to go and fought for the nationalism, for the unity of the people. So I think it's pretty much a relevant topic to discuss in this tourism sector, and not only tourism sector. I will be also focusing on the fact that this Vivekananda's tourism has been a very influential on the sustainable tourism, because it talks about both sides. It's not only the way that the people will paying off and seeing the things, but they will also inherit the good qualities in them, right? So people are there's a mutual understanding, mutual benefits giving, and which the philosophies of, they will come to know about the philosophies, the good qualities of Vivekananda ji, and try to implement in their ways, and which will essentially in the future will able to make them a responsible citizen of India, a responsible citizen who can talk about everything in what the sustainable tourism actually focuses on. It is primarily focusing on the three factors. Economical factors, obviously it's a tourism. Social factor, obviously, when we are gaining the good qualities of the Swami Vivekananda, we are getting a good qualities which is a social factor as well, and environmental factors. When we can come to know the duties what we as a citizen have to follow, environmental factor also being included. Hence, all the SDGs has been completed. SDG number 1 and 2, which talks about the poverty and hunger.
Please wrap up.
Yeah, thank you. And SDG number 7 has been talking about the climate change, environmental practices, and all SDGs have been socially. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. We will have St. Xavier's University for the first question of the rebuttal.
Okay, so that was a very thought-provoking speech from your end. My question to you would be simply in this particular manner, that again you talked about environmental, economical and social parameters with respect to, and only connoting it to sustainable tourism, whereas it is primarily there in the orthodox or mainstream form of tourism in itself. Are you suggesting this one particular thing, that only the places that Swami Vivekananda has visited, if as normal citizens, as domestic tourists, if we go and visit them, only the spiritualistic manner of this particular motion will be followed?
see, I have to talk in a very broader sense, right? For example, let's make a corridor from the Hedua only. The places like our institution is also part of that. That there is ancestral home. The impact of Swami Vivekananda ji is so much that I want to mention an example also, that a person from Gujarat came to Ramakrishna Mission to become a saint, but from there he gets so much knowledge that now he is the Prime Minister of India. Right? This is the impact. It's not restricted only in Kolkata or in the Bengal only. It's in the whole India. And it is very unfortunate, we know very limited. The outside Indians are knowing very limited. That is the main thing. By this tourism, we can not only encourage us to know who is Swami Vivekananda, apart from a spiritual guru. It's more than that, right? It also enforces on what we are in our internal self, what we actually are, what we can ideally do for a betterment as a nation, as a global citizen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. We will have St. Xavier's College Team 2.
You told that Vivekananda is an ideal for spiritualism, but his views on caste system is very regressive. How can such a casteist man can be termed as the ideal for modern day spiritualism?
Again, that is a need of the sustainable tourism. The people lack to understand the actual philosophies of Swami Vivekananda, right? The thing is that he is, again, no cross talk.
Do not
please.
cross talk.
Yeah. The main problem is that we are not trying to get into a deep understanding of the Swami Vivekananda's these statements, right? So I don't think it's a very relevant. Please.
Sir, if he has understood your question, he has understood. If he hasn't, he hasn't. All of that has been noted by the judge.
Just for my knowledge, not for your answer, what was your question?
My question was that the affirmative side is trying to say that Vivekananda is an ideal person for spiritualism in modern day era. But Vivekananda was a casteist man. His caste remarks are very regressive. Caste remarks, casteist. I can quote him. Caste is good. This is only the natural way of solving life. He considered Brahmins.
Same Vivekananda, and I'm just giving you this thing. When you read the whole chapter in the Chicago religious conference, it was same Vivekananda who had said, "He Bharat, ভুলিও না তোমার আদর্শ, ডোম চাঁড়াল মুচি সবাই আমার ভাই." Now, if he is calling them his brother, and if he is defining caste system for a different reason, if he is appreciating that is for division of labor, you cannot call him casteist.
Sir, for the world he was anti-casteist, but for his own Brahmin feudal patterns, he always mentioned that purity and culture belongs to Brahmins, and the Sudras are for self-sacrifice. I know he was not a Brahmin. I am, sir. Let me complete.
Sir, please. Sir.
Sir, let me complete. He was himself a Sudra, but he didn't become monk. He was a Sudra, Narendra. Datta, but he was considered Sudra.
Okay, so please, I think we began from the question answer session. Let the answer be over, then we can have a discussion, a short discussion on this topic. So, Shrishtago, your answer, please.
Yeah, just two things I want to say now. As Honorable Sir also said that fact. First of all, see, the caste system is very much an integral part of our Indian society since the day one of the Vedas, right? And initially days, it was not very harsh also, right? It was depending on the occupation, not by the birth. After the distortion, it becomes so harsh. So, again, I'm just saying that we have to understand Vivekananda very deeply. Until and unless we understand that, we can't give any random statements. Second of all, I want also mention the fact that the Narendranath Datta and Swami Vivekananda are different person. Okay, what Swamiji says, you will not find any contradiction. You will find a many contradiction what Narendranath Datta as a child is. Okay, that is the main thing. Like lot of people say that Gita Paura থেকে football খেলা ভালো.
Please wrap up.
Yeah, right. Lots of people are saying right that, but you can't understand a deep knowledge that why he has said that. Because for understanding Gita or any religious book, you have to be physically and mentally fit. Thank you so much.
No more questions will be entertained.
No, I'm not targeting.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
And one more thing just to point out, it might be that the content of some speeches would be, would encourage further discussion. I hope we can have it after the question answer session is over, because, it will be better if different space of mind, we can inculcate those thoughts. So after the question answer session is over, we'll have such discussions if there are any. So, anything more?
Also, please do maintain a certain level of decorum that is expected, because we are all in a state of mind when we are debating. So please do not laugh and scream and, of course you can exclaim and you can react to certain statements, but nothing which is, arbitrary in nature. That's it. So with that, we will have the, yes.
We'll have Gausia Parveen who will be speaking against the motion.
This is where we need a good reaction. We need good applause. So this is where I would encourage it.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gausia Parveen from Scottish Church College itself, and I would like to start my argument with the quote of Swamiji itself, that environment is the first step towards meditation. And we have been heard by the various speakers that the philosophy, the point of views of Swamiji is timeless, because he had a very in-depth knowledge about the Rig Vedas, the Upanishads. Like from the Yajurveda, he mentioned that there is peace in the heavenly realm. There is peace in the environment, water is cooling, herbs are healing. But, is it relevant in the present scenario? Not because the philosophy of Swamiji is timeless, but are we as a people are capable enough to interpret that what he is actually saying? Now let me prove this with a very relevant example right now. In Ladakh, we have also been heard in the speeches that if we just implement this spiritual tourism, then it will attract many people, and that will be helpful for the local people out there. But let's take an example of Ladakh. The local people were overburdened by the overpopulation of the tourists there. The environment became toxic there. Why? Because the people misunderstood the spiritual tourism, right? So we need to have in-depth analysis. We need to have the in-depth understanding that what spiritual tourism actually is. Let's take the second example of Bhutan. Bhutan has started to charge the sustainable development fee. Why? Because again we failed to understand the role of environment in the sustainable development. Because sustainable development talks not only about economy, but also about the social and the environment aspect also. But here we have failed to understand the impact of environment, and it is very, very important right now, because we can see the present and the current scenario, which and the environment is degrading right now, with which various speakers fail to understand and to put it into their speeches. So I would like to stress into it. My second argument is, since India is a secular nation and it is a multicultural nation, many people from diversities exist there. Like, let's take an example. Gautam Buddha also took a walk from Lumbini, Bodh Gaya and Sarnath. So, just focus on my statement. Some people might stress to have a sustainable tourism out there, or the minorities can also ask for the Hajj subsidies. But that will actually stress upon the government of India, and that will hamper the economy out there, because every coin has two sides. We just can't only stress upon the idealistic view. We also have to be realist too in the present environment. My third point is, how could we tackle, or how could we actually compete with the first world nations out there? Because they are actually moving very fast, very rapidly. And if we just add up the tourism for being spiritual, so how can we actually compete with the first world countries? So we need to have certain innovative ideas, because change can only be applicable if we just instill and if we balance between realism and idealism. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your fine speech. We will have Ashutosh for the question.
You talked about environment is degrading. You talked about sustainable tourism and how environment might help, a good environment might help sustainable tourism. As you are talking for the motion, I will.
I was talking against the motion.
No
as you were
crosstalk.
talking.
If he understands it is for it, it is his problem. You don't have to budge.
Okay.
As you were talking against the motion, I would like to know what frameworks you are suggesting, because there were no frameworks and policies which you suggested to go against it or even go for it.
Well, you actually answered your own question. We are just focusing on the idealistic view that people will gain enlightenment, they will be spiritual enough, but where are the policies, where is the realist view? You actually answered, right, that there is no other policies, there is no argumentative point of view. We are just stressing on the thing that this thing can happen, will happen, but how it will happen, we have to be realist too. We have to bring about the policies, the initiatives, and for that we need to get hold of the proper understanding of the philosophies of the Swamiji, because that is being misinterpreted in many ways.
Thank you, ma'am. We will have St. Paul's.
Ma'am, that was a very nice speech and also a good reading from your hand. Like, I would like to ask that, what were the innovative, how can you emphasize on the innovative ideas? At last you said, no, we must find some innovative ideas. So how can you emphasize on that? Means, can you give some examples on the informative ideas or the innovative ideas you last coined?
See, there are various
Sir, it's fine if you want to ask a question. Please stick to asking the question and not making any comments, extra comments. Okay. So, yes. So this is civil atmosphere. Please refrain from doing such things. Please respect every speaker who will be speaking. No problem. Please.
Sir, hold on. Sir, hold on. The instruction was no written material is not allowed. If any speaker comes upon the podium and uses his own way to refer to any material in his own manner, by understanding the rule of no written material is allowed, written material, this is not a piece of material, it's absolutely acceptable, right? And this is not, besides the point, this will be noted by the judges if this is not accepted, right? But what is important over here is that you cannot make any attacks to the speaker in that manner. You cannot say that, very good writing upon your hand, because that's a personal attack upon his or her own style of speaking. That is absolutely not acceptable. So whether this is acceptable or not is to be noted by the judges. That is not our problem. If the judges, respectable judges, have seen that a person has been writing on their hands, that will be noted. Whether this can be allowed or not, that's absolutely their own discretion. But whether this is accepted or not, or whether we can make any remarks on this as speakers and participants, I absolutely discourage this as a moderator. I would not encourage any comments on this, so I would ask Gausia to answer the question.
Well, very thank you, moderators, for the clarification. And I would like to go back again. I gave the example in the speech itself, the Bhutan sustainable fee. They are taking the sustainable fee. That is one of the initiative or the policies being adapted by one of the country. So we can also learn from them and we can also strive towards them. Thank you.
Thank you, Gausia. So next we have St. Xavier's University. You will be speaking for Ahana Bhattacharya, right? Okay. So Ahana Bhattacharya will be speaking for the motion.
I
You may
Mahana
start.
Bhattacharya from St. Xavier's. I'll be speaking for the motion. I'll be starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. It really hurts me to see that the motion today has been misconstrued in so many ways, in more ways than one. And to be honest, the ideologies of Swamiji has not been studied to an extent that it has even has held any relevance in today's motion in the speeches so far. So I would like to propose a model of 3 mechanisms, 3 constructives as to how tourism, which is an inherently important part of the economy, which brings in a lot of revenue, can be simultaneously kept at a parallel level with sustainability, so that tourism doesn't in turn hurt the environment. The first and foremost area is having an aligned village. I think a lot of people spoke about the fact that the host communities, which are one of the stakeholders, so the 4 stakeholders, the 3 stakeholders are the host communities, the tourists coming, and the government body, right? So the host communities, for them to have a sustainable mode of development is to have them incentivized. And this has been spoken by Swami Vivekananda long back, because for him, dharma could not be divided from anything. For him, the dharma of water was wetness. For him, the dharma of honey was sweetness. And similarly, the dharma of a culture is the preservation of the heritage ecology. And that in itself is the very idea that tourism today should base their very focus on. Because understand, house today, that one of the problems that we see is no matter what the government does, no matter what strategies the government put forward, it is the inherent moral values that the people have to bring forth to preserving the nature, right? Preserving the environment. And that ideology has been brought forward by Swami Vivekananda long back. His very idea of cosmic integrity, of I am God and that I am Brahma and you are, so are you, that very idea is what we have to focus on today, so that tourism moving forward remains sustainable, right? The second point is very well are sustainable tourist options, which is, I guess a lot of people have spoken about how people have gone to these places and destroyed them, but that is not the debate today, right? The debate is tourism exists and you cannot just negate tourism saying that people go and destroy the places. How do we make it sustainable? We make it sustainable through the ideologies of Swamiji himself, who spoke about this cosmic integrity, who very well distinguished realization from revelation, anubhati from anubhaya, which today, if we inculcate that in today's generation, in today's people, through knowledge, which is again one of the very ideologies that Swamiji stood on, that knowledge is your greatest power, that is how moving forward we can help the generation preserve the nature. Because obviously, no matter what the government does, no matter what the big people sitting above do, we have to somewhere realize the host communities, the people who go to these places, the tourists, have to realize how to preserve the nature, right? And thirdly, my third and last mechanism for model for this debate is the concept of fairness, the concept of trust, the concept of mutual values, right? So that is again very well rooted in the very ideology of Swamiji himself. So he had brought it and we just need to preach it now. So the fact that people have brought up that he is a casteist is completely irrelevant, because his ideologies stand today. And if his ideologies stand today, we cannot negate them, since his ideologies are the only means moving forward in a sustainable development of tourism. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your fine speech, ma'am. Yes, we will be open for rebuttals. St. Xavier's College. Team 1.
That's a great speech, ma'am. But don't you think that after 100 years of Sir leaving this world, if it's still been preached or reached the level to have achieved sustainable development, how do you think that his teachings at this point, with the complexities that involve in capitalism and tourism and the world that is right now, can help?
The world that is right now has a lot of clashes between religions, but remember that Sir Swamiji was one of the first people who spoke about harmony between religions. He was he was one of the first people to talk about spiritual brotherhood, right? So if he was a visionary who had already spoken about these things, and the socio-political climate though has changed, there were issues then as well which were tackled by his ideologies, and the issues today can also be tackled by his ideologies by modifying them, which is taking the ideal parts of his ideologies that suit us.
Thank you, ma'am.
that
You can
suit-
wrap up. Yeah. We will have, yes, one more question. Loretto, keep it short. We are running short of time, so please keep your questions short and also your answers short.
Thank you for your speech, ma'am. In your speech, you talked about the impact that Swamiji had made, but my question is, what is impact without implementation? In your speech, also you mentioned that no matter what the government does, it is on an individual basis that we need to be aware of and we need to move towards it. But without having the perfect, not even perfect, without having measures that support our idea of sustainability, how are we going to move towards it in terms of tourism?
I think the idea of sustainability is largely the same, wherein we have to we have to use the reserves of the world in a way that our future generations have them, right? So understand that how the ideologies that Swamiji had of dharma, which is preserving your own culture, which is preserving your own heritage, if inculcated in one human being, one individual, he will try to preserve his own heritage, right? And that moving forward from one will spread to many, and that moving forward will lead to a sustainable tourism industry, which will help us as a society, which will help the government as well.
Thank you, ma'am. Due to the paucity of time, we will have to make one change. We will be entertaining one rebuttal per speaker, and I expect all the questions to be extremely short and precise, and the answers also to be the same. It can be just within a line. So yeah, I request the opposition speaker from St. Xavier's University to come forward.
We have Jyotiraditya Majumdar speaking against the motion.
Okay, so good afternoon to one and all. I'll start in 3, 2, 1. This is Jyotiraditya Majumdar from St. Xavier's University, Kolkata, and I'm firmly standing against the motion of the House. The House already believes that retracing the Yatra by Swami Vivekananda can help us to explore the spirituality and tourism in India. However, the burden on the opposition lies on the very forefront of the fact that why do we need to connect it to spirituality? And the question lies, does every individual who comes to India or explores India on a domestic paradigm, do they only explore it only for the reason of spirituality? Now let us identify the stakeholders in the first place. They can be the domestic tourists, they can be the international tourists, they can be the local bodies and the government bodies, right? These are the 4 stakeholders. Try to understand the foreigners or the like Westerners who come to or visit India, or people from Asia who come to visit India. They do it not only for spiritual reason, many do it only to identify the culinary affairs of India. Why are we not talking about that in the first place? Exploring India via tourism, only via spirituality, is something which is being highly concentrated at this point of time in this discussion. Now, when we talk about Swamiji's practical approach with respect to retracing the Yatra of India, see, the mechanism in which Swami Vivekananda explored India is something which cannot be done like on a realistic manner in today's time. Can you plan about exploring India without a well thought budgeted plan in your pocket? Can you do it? Swami Vivekananda could do it because he was a spiritual leader at his given point of time. The inflation rates, the banking system was completely different, and it was not even relevant at that point of time. However, in today's time, in practical approach, the economy is quite different. At any given point of time, not a single individual will be comfortable enough to sleep in a like random railway station. However, that same individual will plan accordingly so as to book the tickets utilizing the Eastern Railway, which is the largest railway mechanism in India at this point of time. Moving forward, talking about the fact that only religious aspect of it, why are we not talking about the fact that there are people out there who are believing in atheism? Right? Not necessarily they are religiously inclined towards one particular religion. Their spiritualistic liberation can be through atheism, through approach to environment.
Now try to understand this one particular thing why the side proposition always talked about, you talked about renewable tourism, you talked about the renewable energy, but not sustainability. Sustainability is what we leave for the future generations as well. What mechanisms that can be updated, what mechanisms that can be taken at this point of time is like awareing people, making them more and more knowledgeable, right? This is something the local guides for any particular tourist spot needs to understand. They need to not only inculcate the knowledge in themselves but also impart. That is the main criteria that needs to be attained. Again, thinking about the fact that the flock of tourists that visit West Bengal during the time of Durga Puja, do you think they understand the core religious aspects of Durga Puja, or do they visit it only for the ambience of the celebrity of the merriment of this particular time in West Bengal? See, that's the basic reason why tourism flourishes on various aspects in this point of time. Just winding up my point, I would just like to add this one more point. Just the fact that understanding why sustainability is required in the first place is the core construct of this particular debate, right? Is sustainable tourism the ultimate form of tourism at this point of time? I don't really think so. It is one of the other mechanisms that we can leave behind for the future generation, but it is not the ultimatum. So I would genuinely urge to the entire house so as to not solely believe on the fact that only retracing Swami Vivekananda's approach can only lead to tourism flourishment in India, but also there are various others mainstream mechanisms which are still prevalent that can be just utilized with higher investment rates. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for your fine speech. We will be entertaining one question. We will be having team 2 of Ashutosh College. Please keep your questions short.
Very nice speech, sir. So you have said that in India, people are not having that well-planned budget to visit the tourism places. Can you tell me that how many rich people are living in India? Absolutely. And how many middle-class people are living in India, or they have a lot of budget to visit these tourism places? Every year on winter time, and during this time, you will see Rishikesh, Varanasi, people are hogging over there.
I think he got
Thank
the
you
question.
so much. Thank you so much.
I got your question. Just the fact that you explaining a question more and more does not give more clarity to the question. However, I would just like add on to the point. It's an example. It's an example which I put forward, which is a very relevant example. For a matter of fact, you said that how many rich people are there in India. Without a proper budgeted, well-thought plan, you cannot even make a proper trip. That is very practical. Can you go out on the road with an empty hand, just on a vagabond level? No. Even for a simple pilgrimage, you would have to think in what particular manner I would spend my money so as to reach my ultimate goal. That will be not only for the fooding but also lodging. This is the basics of any particular trip or plan. Any particular trip or plan. Moving forward, you talked about the various sections of taxpayers. I would genuinely say not individuals, wealthy and all. I would genuinely identify them as taxpayers. High taxpaying individual, low taxpaying individual, non-taxpayable individuals at this point of time. Non-taxable individuals at this point of time, they have found their own way of exploring India, which we cannot even stop. But that is the exceptions. But exceptions cannot be the entirety of the particular concept. That is why we have majority and minority concepts.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Please wrap up. Thank you, sir, for fine speech. Thank you, St. Xavier's University. We move on to
St. Paul's Cathedral College.
the proposition speaker is invited to make his arguments on the dais.
So we have Shubronil Poddar speaking for the motion.
Good afternoon, everyone present here. I am Shubronil. I am representing St. Paul's Cathedral Mission College, and I will be speaking for the motion. Swami Vivekananda was a social reformer who preached. Sir, actually, I have.
Yes. Pardon? Would you want another chance to? Yes. Sure. That's okay. So should I help you with the countdown?
Could I just revise once?
Okay. Against
Okay.
the motion.
Yes.
It will be better if the person speaking against the motion starts the argument. So we have Deepayan Shamanto speaking against the motion.
নমস্কার, আমি দীপায়ন সামন্ত। আমি সেন্ট পলস ক্যাথিড্রাল মিশনের ছাত্র এবং আমার রেসপেক্টেড জাজদের প্রণাম, নমস্কার। আই উইল বি কাউন্টডাউনটা স্টার্ট করো, 3, 2, 1। প্রথমত আমি যেটা বলতে চাই সেটা হচ্ছে স্বামীজি যে আধ্যাত্মিক মাধ্যম এবং পর্যটন মাধ্যমের যাত্রাপথে গেছিলেন, আজকের 21 শতাব্দীতে কি সেটা আদৌ সম্ভব? মানে মানুষের আজকে টাকার অনাটন আছে, মানুষের আজকে সময়ের অভাব আছে, মানুষের আজকে অনেক রকমের অসুবিধা রয়েছে, কিন্তু মানুষ কি আদৌ আজকে একটা জায়গায় ঘুরতে যায় সেই জায়গাটার আধ্যাত্মিক মাধ্যম বিচার করতে, নাকি মানুষ ওই সারা সপ্তাহ ক্লান্তি কাটাতে শেষ একদিন ঘুরতে যাচ্ছে একটু মজা বা একটু আনন্দ করতে? তো প্রথমত আমার এটা বলার। দ্বিতীয়ত যেটা আমার বলার সেটা হচ্ছে, স্বামীজি যে সময় ছিলেন সেই সময়কার একটা রিয়ালিটি আমরা যেটা পাই, আর আজকের যে রিয়ালিটি চেক আমরা যেটা পাচ্ছি সেটা প্রচণ্ডভাবে আলাদা। আজকে মানুষের যে বাড়ি থেকে বেরোতে হলে, আমার আগে স্পিকার এই কথাটি বলে গেছেন যে মানুষের বাড়ি থেকে বেরোতে হলে মানুষের পকেটে টাকা থাকা উচিত। স্বামীজির সময় কিন্তু সেটা ছিল না। স্বামীজির সময় মানুষ বাড়ি থেকে বেরোতে পারতো, মানুষ যেখানে খুশি ঘুরতে যেতে পারতো। আজকে দুর্গাপুজোয় তুমি যদি বেরো বা তুমি যদি এথনিসিটিটা ইনভলভ করতে চাও, তাহলেও তোমার পকেটে টাকা লাগবে। কিন্তু আজ থেকে যদি তুমি 20 বছর, কি 20ও লাগবে না, 15 বছর আগে গিয়ে যদি তুমি যাও, সেখানে কিন্তু অত টাকা লাগতো না। তখন তুমি পায়ে হেঁটেই পুরো কলকাতা ঘুরে ফেলতে পারো। তখন অত 5 স্টার মল ছিল না, তখন অত ঘোরার জায়গার জন্য টাকা দিতে হতো, তখন তো টোল ট্যাক্স ছিল না। এখন একটা রাস্তায় যেতে গেলে একটা গাড়ি পাস করলে টোল ট্যাক্স দিতে হচ্ছে, সেখানে টাকা লাগছে। কিন্তু তখনকার দিনে সেটা ছিল না। তখন মানুষের ইচ্ছাটা ছিল যে আধ্যাত্মিক মাধ্যমটা খুঁজে দেখার, মানুষের মনের মধ্যে একটা আকাঙ্ক্ষা ছিল যে মানুষ তার একটা পর্যটনের জায়গায় গেছে, সেখানে সেই আধ্যাত্মিক মাধ্যমটা খুঁজে বার করবে। কিন্তু আজকের দিনে সেটা নেই। এবং আমার তৃতীয়ত যেটা বলার, আজকের দিনে মানুষ পর্যটন জায়গায়, এটা খুব দুঃখের যে মানুষ পর্যটনের জায়গায় যাচ্ছে। আমি একটা এক্সাম্পল কোট করতে চাই, সেটা হচ্ছে গেটওয়ে অফ ইন্ডিয়া। আজকে যদি আমরা কেউ গেটওয়ে অফ ইন্ডিয়াতে যাই, মানুষের প্রথম চাহিদা হচ্ছে ছবি তোলা, ঠিক আছে, সোশ্যাল মিডিয়াতে আপলোড করা। আজকে একটা গাড়ি নিয়ে লোক দার্জিলিং যাচ্ছে, মানুষটা ফোন নিয়ে পুরোটাই ভিডিও করতে করতে যাচ্ছে, মানুষ দেখছে না যে জিনিসটা কী। আজকে গেটওয়ে অফ ইন্ডিয়া দেখতে গেলে আমরা দেখতে পাই পরিষ্কার করে সবার নিজেদের নাম খোদাই করে লিখে আসছে। তো সেখানে কি আমরা দাঁড়িয়ে এটা বলতে পারি আজকের মানুষ সেই আধ্যাত্মিক মাধ্যমটা বুঝবে বা আজকের মানুষ সেই আধ্যাত্মিক মাধ্যমটা খুঁজে পাওয়ার চেষ্টা করবে? এটা কোনোদিনই সম্ভব নয়। কিন্তু যদি আমরা চেষ্টা করি আমরা পারবো। কিন্তু এই 21 শতাব্দীতে দাঁড়িয়ে আজকের দিনে, অবশ্য আবার কোভিডের পরে, কোভিডের আগে হলে তাও একটু চিন্তাভাবনা করা যেত, কারণ মানুষের অনাটনতা তো কম ছিল। এখন আনএমপ্লয়মেন্ট রেট যদি আমরা দেখি, সেটা কোভিডের আগে ছিল 13% ইনক্রিমেন্ট হতো প্রত্যেক বছরে, এখন সেটা এসে দাঁড়িয়ে গেছে 27%, প্রত্যেক বছরে সেটা 27% বাড়ছে। তো এইরকম একটা জায়গায় দাঁড়িয়ে আমরা কি এটা আদৌ পারবো? আমার তো মনে হয় না সেটা করা সম্ভব। এবং আমার লাস্ট বাট নট দ্য লিস্ট যেটা আমার একটা পয়েন্ট বলার আছে, সেটা হচ্ছে এই যে আমরা আধ্যাত্মিক মাধ্যমে পর্যটন ক্ষেত্রে যাচ্ছি, স্বামীজির সময় ফোন ছিল না, সোশ্যাল মিডিয়া ছিল না, স্বামীজির সময় শুধু জিনিসটা দেখার বিষয়টা ছিল। মানে মানুষের তখন ক্যামেরা বলতে দুটো চোখ ছিল। এখন মানুষের ক্যামেরা মানে আমার ফোনে 60 মেগাপিক্সেল ক্যামেরা, তোমার ফোনে 120 মেগাপিক্সেল ক্যামেরা, কার ফোনে কত ভালো ছবি উঠছে আর কার সোশ্যাল মিডিয়াতে কতগুলো পোস্ট যাচ্ছে। মানুষ এখন ঘুরতে যায় জায়গাটা দেখতে নয়, মানুষ এখন ঘুরতে যায় তার ইনস্টাগ্রামের হাইলাইট বাড়াতে, আমি এই জায়গায় গেছি। তো আমার বলার মাধ্যম এটাই, এবং আমি আমার শ্রোতা বন্ধুদের কাছে ধন্যবাদ চাইছি।
ধন্যবাদ। We will be moving on to the rebuttals. One question. We will be encouraging Scottish Church College, Team 1.
Thank you so much for that speech. So, considering the fact, I want to make clarification that Swamiji himself was living under the poverty, right? Which actually directly or indirectly force him to go for a Path Yatra, right? Which again has an impact on him as this what significantly. Coming to this recent era, now many political parties, if they want, they can go, they can afford planes also, trains also, but they're going Path Yatras all around the country. Like recently we have seen Bharat Yoda Rath. So don't you think that this is actually still relevant in today's society, that yes, by walking we can
Sir,
have
question only.
Yeah, that is the question.
Narrative is not needed.
Yeah, like it's still relevant. Don't you think it's still relevant?
আমি আমার বক্তব্যের মাধ্যমে আগেও বলেছি যে স্বামীজির সময়টা আলাদা ছিল, এখনকার সময়টা আলাদা। এবং এই যে তুমি বললে পলিটিক্যাল পার্টিরা যে নিয়ে বেরোচ্ছে, এইটার সঙ্গে আমি কোনো প্রসঙ্গ টানতেই চাইছি না, কারণ স্বামীজির সঙ্গে কোনো পলিটিক্যাল রিলেশন আমি টানতে চাই না। এবং পলিটিক্যাল পার্টি যেটা আছে তারা করে এটা তাদের নিজেদের প্রোপাগ্যান্ডা বাড়ানোর জন্য, আর স্বামীজি যেটা করেছে সেটা শুধু নিজের আধ্যাত্মিক মাধ্যমটা বাড়ানোর জন্য। ধন্যবাদ।
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your fine speech. And with that, we invite
we
the
now have
proposition.
the speaker for the motion from St.
Proposition.
Paul's College.
So the proposition will begin his speech in 3, 2, 1, go.
Swami Vivekananda was a social reform যে ইন্ডিয়ান ফিলোসফিজ অ্যান্ড ইন্ডিয়ান কালচারকে ওয়েস্টার্ন কান্ট্রিজে নিয়ে গেছে। ইন 1893 তিনি ট্রাভেল করেছিলেন চিকাগো শহরে, ওখানে পার্লামেন্টে নিজের বক্তৃতা দিয়েছিলেন। সেখানে ইন্ডিয়ান ফিলোসফি, ইন্ডিয়ান কালচারকে তিনি অনেক ওয়েল রিসিভড হয়েছেন। তিনি আবার 1897-এ এসে ইন্ডিয়াতে এসে নিজের রামকৃষ্ণ মিশন চালু করেন। সেখানে তিনি তার নিজের শিক্ষা দিয়ে আরও শিক্ষা নিজের বাড়ান, বাকিদেরকে নিজের শিক্ষা বাড়ান, বাকিদেরকে আরও স্প্রেড করেন নিজের এডুকেশনকে। তো আজকের এই ডিবেটে আমি 3টে পয়েন্ট তুলে ধরবো ওনার টিচিংসের সাস্টেনেবল ট্যুরিজমের। এক হচ্ছে নিজের কালচারাল স্প্রেডনেস,
ব্রেক নিতে চাস একটু?
একটুখানি পেপারটা থাকলে সুবিধা হতো।
Sir, you are asking for the written material, but that don't you think that would be impartial? You being partial to the other participants. So, yeah, timer is still running, so it's absolutely up to you how you're going to judiciously use it. You have 2 minutes left.
Okay, I will end the speech.
Any rebuttals? That is absolutely all right. We all have been there someday. So we would like another applause because he tried. That trying is something which is important. And I hope that there will be a time where you can give an entire speech someday. So well done, and I really congratulate you. With that, we move on to.
We next have St. Xavier's College Team 2 who will be speaking for. Okay, we have Misha Chakraborty. No, what? Oh, acha. Jainaka Bararia. Okay, you'll be speaking for the motion. Okay. You may start.
Good afternoon, everybody, respected panelists and my fellow debaters. Today I'm here to debate for the motion. Okay, so Swamiji's holistic view. Swamiji always had a holistic view wherein he placed importance on individuals from across all societies, cultures, religion. Also, he had not only put emphasis on the tourism, but sustainable tourism.
It's all right.
You can collect your thoughts, wait for some time. We'll pause the timer if you want.
Do you want to pause the timer? All right. So timer is running. You have 3 minutes. If you want to change the medium of instruction, if you feel like you're comfortable in another language, that is also encouraged. Anything.
You would like to go first? Okay.
She's the speaker. It is up to her discretion whether she's going to give the time to you.
Different teams.
No, same team. But she's the stance that's speaking. Yeah, exactly. It is your decision.
Do you want to speak after him?
I will go with rebuttal,
Rebuttal.
if that's possible.
But there are no points that you've placed on the floor for rebuttal. Would you want your opposition to speak?
Yeah.
All right. The opposition is invited to speak on the dais. Yeah, sure.
So Jaineka, you will be speaking after him, okay?
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Manish. I am Manish. I will be speaking against the motion. The affirmative side was focusing on the term tourism and many different places in India, but the motion of the debate is connecting the yatra of Swami Vivekananda with spirituality and tourism. As the affirmative side said that Vivekananda was an idealistic man for spiritualism, but however I disagree with this point. Swami Vivekananda, let's get back into a history. Swami Vivekananda, whose real name was Naren Datta. Naren was influenced by the Brahmo Samaj, but he was dismissed from his teaching post by the Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. And after being dismissed, he started hating the idea of reformation among the Hindu society. In the same way, Adolf Hitler became anti-Semitic after being expelled by his Jewish employer. And after this, the Vivekananda's views on castes and his views on women liberalization were very regressive. And I don't think a man of such regressive nature can ever be called as the ideal for spiritualism in 21st century. Now coming back to tourism, my argument will be based on 2 points. Number one, modern day implementation of the views of Vivekananda. Vivekananda's views might be idealistic, but modern day tourism is driven by profits and growth, and his idealistic views cannot help in generating profits because the companies which are running the tourism sector are not there for to act as a NGO. They are there to earn profits. And my second point is the diverse motivations of the tourists. Tourists are not here generally for some spiritual kind of vibes. They are there for their diverse motivation. And the views of Vivekananda ji, which was emphasis mainly on inner well-being, can never be implemented for catering these types of diverse motivation. So instead of focusing or relying on some century-old philosophies, we should try to explore innovative ways to cater the demand of modern-day tourism and spiritualism of 21st century. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You have 1 minute 44 seconds left. Would you like to yield it to the dais or for rebuttals?
Open for rebuttal.
Okay, so we will have Bethun.
তুমি বললে আইডিয়ালিস্টিক ভিউজ ক্যান বি ইউজ ফর প্রফিট, তো প্রফিট মানে প্রফিট না হলে মানুষের উন্নতি হবে কী করে? আর প্রফিট ঠিক না, ওটা অতিরিক্ত প্রফিট যেটা লোভ বলে সেইটার প্রতি আমাদের ফোকাস করা উচিত। প্রফিট কি ওটা অ্যাকচুয়ালি, এটা ব্যাপারে তোমার কী মত?
আরেকবার বলবে তোমার প্রশ্নটা?
তুমি রিপিট করেছিলে যে
Actually, I don't understand Bengali.
ওকে,
I'll translate it for you.
আইডিয়ালিস্টিক ভিউজ ক্যান বি ইউজ ফর প্রফিট,
I said cannot be used for profit.
হ্যাঁ ক্যান নট বি ইউজ ফর প্রফিট। তাহলে কিন্তু প্রফিট যদি না হয় তাহলে একটা জাতির কি করে উন্নয়ন হবে? আর প্রফিট কি ওই কথাটা, ওটা কি অতিরিক্ত প্রফিট যেটাকে আমরা লোভ বলি? আমরা তো সেইটা যাতে না হয় তার প্রতি ফোকাস করব। প্রফিট তো হতে হবে, নাহলে এই জিনিসটা
How will society not progress if there isn't a consistent source of profit?
I am supporting the profit only. I am telling that implementing the idealistic views will not help in generating profit. The tourists are not here to cater the poor of the society. They are here to enjoy and they will spend money. And in term of this enjoy, the ideas of Vivekananda will not cater them.
Thank you, sir. No more questions. Jayanaka, would you come upon the dais? Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir.
Take a deep breath. and don't think like there's no one in the room. All right. So all the best.
Again, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jenica Pararia, and I am going for the motion. Swamiji has put a holistic view on sustainability and tourism. He has always incorporated people from diverse culture, religion, and society. Swamiji's teaching were not only focused on sustainable tourism, but also a healthy tourism. Swamiji's vision are not only for that particular period, it still prevails true here. Swamiji's ideas are concrete and they lie as a base or a foundation for the upcoming generation. Gold is always gold, the value of gold always increases and it does not depreciate. Same are the views of Swamiji. They will be a strong base for the upcoming future, whether it is spirituality or it is tourism or it is sustainable tourism. And I would like to end my speech.
Thank you, ma'am. You have 2 minutes 44 seconds left. Do you encourage? Do you want rebuttals? All right. Questions on the floor? Any questions on the floor? This is a question for the judges. Last time. Any questions on the floor? St. Xavier's University.
Ma'am, it was really a very well mechanized speech, but I would just seek one mechanism where you can promote sustainable tourism in today's time, not pertaining Swami Vivekananda's ideology. Just talk about normal way of promoting sustainable tourism. If you can just give me one.
There are various examples like in Kodai Canal, which is in South. To promote sustainable tourism, plastic is banned and anybody who spits on the road, they are fined and sometimes they also have to go legal consequence. So that's a prevailing example.
Thank you, ma'am. With that, we move on
to we have Ashutosh College Team 2. So we have, who will be speaking for Ashutosh College? Both of you?
Who is the proposition speaker for Ashutosh?
Against. You will be speaking against.
Yes. So we invite the proposition to come upon the dais.
The speaker who will be speaking for the motion.
For the motion.
Your name? Okay. Disha Lal, we have speaking for the motion. You may start.
Very good afternoon, everyone. This is Disha Lal from the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication Honors from Ashutosh Mukherjee College. Yes, you can. Okay. So I'm going to start my debate in 3, 2, 1. So over here, I have seen that lot of the participants, they are focusing on like spirituality, but none of you, it's very sad to say that none of you have actually defined what is spirituality actually. You have not said that spirituality is actually finding your inner self, the purpose of life. It is not actually related to religion in any case. Spirituality is finding your goal, your purpose in life. We all are fighting for our goal only. We all have some dreams in our life, and that is Swamiji's saying over here. That how spirituality and tourism are complementary to each other and how we can retrace that path. Swamiji has gone to different places like Rishikesh, Nainital, Varanasi. Visiting these places will actually rejuvenate your senses, illuminate your mind, enlighten your mind. Why do such people, I have seen greatest personalities going to these places. Personalities like Virat Kohli, you have seen him going to different places, religious places or Rishikesh, Varanasi. Why are these people not staying in home and saying, okay, I will sit in my home, I will gain spirituality? Why are we going to these places to gain spirituality? Because, there is some reason behind it. Sitting in our home and you will think, okay, I will find my purpose. going to these places, like Varanasi, Rishikesh, I have mentioned these places, Nainital also, will actually refreshen you, will actually take away you from your monotonous routine. And then you will come back with freshen up, and then you will retrace your routine. Then you will have that goal in your mind, yes, I have to do this, I have to do that. Okay, that's what my motto is, like point 1 over here. Point 2 is like the herald for sustainable tourism, what Swamiji has said. I am myself from Belur. So Belur Math is like 15 minutes from my destination. I have visited that place a lot of times. Belur Math is actually a very peaceful place. One of my friends has really rightly pointed out that these places have become a centered for Instagram hubs. People are clicking pictures and saying, okay, yeah, we are giving hashtags over it. But my dear friend, pictures and clicking of photos are not allowed in the temples. You are not allowed to take your phone. Have you visited ISKCON temple in Mayapur? Are you allowed to take your phones over there? You have been said to submit your phones in certain places. Okay. And one of my friends is rightly pointed out. So visiting these places will actually illuminate your mind, will actually give you a sense of fresh and beliefs. I just want to talk about the traveling experiences of Swami Vivekananda, and that's it. Nothing like giving all the facts and details like many of you have pointed out. So I will just convey my thoughts over here. That what Swamiji has said, that visiting all these places, no matter one day or the other, we all want to visit all these places, will actually encapsulate your senses, will actually give you a sense of relief, will actually calm your mind. And Swamiji has met Swami Brahmananda during his visits, and he has Brahmananda, and he has meditated over there when he met all these people, and he has also read some scriptures regarding that spirituality. So what I feel over here is that we should at least once in our lifetime visit all these places, not all these places, at least once places, to actually eliminate ourselves, to
Thank you,
actually
ma'am. Please
refresh
wrap up.
ourselves. Thank you.
We will be encouraging one rebuttal from Loreto College.
Ma'am, in your speech, when you said that, quote unquote, Swamiji visited so and so places and so should we, please tell me honestly that whenever we think of a place, and this question is actually open to everyone, whenever we think of going to a place, is it really because of the ideals of Swamiji, or because of some influencer on Instagram made the place look actually beautiful?
My dear friend, Swamiji has quoted about spirituality. Swamiji has said to follow my words. Swamiji is saying to find spirituality, we are going to visit these places. What you have said? You have said that what Swamiji, can you please say your question again?
My entire point was, whatever you mentioned in your stance, how is it pertinent to what Swamiji did? Because when you were talking about we should do this, we should do that, is it really influenced by Swamiji, whom we are here to discuss about?
It is influenced by spirituality, ma'am, not by Swamiji. Swamiji is talking about spirituality, but it is actually influenced by spirituality to find our inner self. We are going to visit these places and nothing else, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. With that, we invite the opposition speaker to come up on the dais.
We have Shurjo Shuchi De speaking against the motion from Ashutosh College.
Namaskar and a very good afternoon to everyone present here. I am Surja Suchi Dev from Ashutosh College. Rise, awake and don't stop till you achieve your goal, as said by our beloved Swami Vivekananda, the modern monk of India. So I would like to raise two important points here. Number one, that is, many of my fellow speakers are saying anything that is against the motion because for the sake of saying the thing. Like one said about casteism, but if for the sake of winning a debate, we cannot say anything. We should not go against our own ideologies. Second, I would like to say that many here are afraid to talk about spirituality or marking it as a like very downtrodden and old time thinking. But my dear fellow speakers, the spirituality is something that is seen more in the 21st century and in the younger generation. It is a report of the UN that spirituality is more seen in the younger people, and it is a coherent effect that the older generation is not into spirituality more, but the younger generation is more into spirituality. The West always seen East as a spiritual hub and always came to India and China and Tibet for spiritual assistance. I will not say anything against this motion, although I am against it, but I will not compromise with my ideology to win a debate. And this is my spirituality. This is where I stand with my ideology, that no, you may put me in against, but I will not say anything against this because just to win a debate. Now coming back to the point, spirituality, many people think that spirituality means something that is not modern, but people think that atheist people are modern, but I think who say that atheist people are modern, I want to say that they are pseudo-modernist people. Spirituality is a modern thing and we should find our inner self. Now coming to spiritual tourism, there is Gangasagar Mela. No one talked about it. It is spiritual tourism. Kumbh Mela, it is spiritual tourism. The Isha Foundation in Tamil Nadu, it is spiritual tourism. So why is no one is talking about this? Why only beaches? Beaches is not spiritual tourism. Gangasagar is spiritual tourism. One need to understand it. Without understanding the motion, I can't just stand and say anything that I want to say. Now coming to my next point, one of my fellow speakers said, that the casteism point, if you read the whole speech, you will find that he said, rather than bringing the Brahmins down, take the Sudras up so that we all are in equality. Please get your facts checked. Another point, my concluding point would definitely be that modernization or modern people's thinking is like spirituality is modernization for me. And one is, if I am not talking about privileges or underprivileged people, I am talking about a person can be spiritual if that person is underprivileged. So I am sorry, but I can't say anything against the motion just for the sake of winning the debate. I will not go against my ideology. And this is me and this is my spirituality. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We would be entertaining one rebuttal. St. Paul's.
Respected my fellow debater, and that was a very nice speech, and I would like to ask that, was the motion was on spiritual tourism or spirituality and tourism? My question is this.
Okay.
You said why should
I understand. I understand. So if you ever visit Gangasagar or Kumbh Mela, you will understand the divine mixture of tourism and spirituality, where tourism meets spirituality and it gives rise to a divine energy. The aura there is divine. So you have to understand spirituality and tourism. So my spiritual tourism, I'm talking about spiritual tourism. I'm not talking about Amsterdam and going there to see the architecture. I'm talking about feeling oneself, where you love yourself and you want to do work for the people. And this is spirituality, where you want to work for the people and enlighten everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Moderators, may I ask one question to you all, because I am not that much, I don't know that much like you. So my question is that the essence of debate says that whether you are for the motion or against the motion. You can't you can't say that it's my spirituality or it's my thing. So you have to speak in that motion only. Is it correct or am I wrong? It's my question to moderators.
See, if people know, we have specified beforehand, many people might have found out that it is in the Oxford format, what it appears to be. So taking that into account, we have also followed the conventional methods associated to the Oxford format. Barring that, any deviations from that format have been noted by the judges. So that will be
Thanks,
addressed.
Atan. Thanks, Atan.
Yes, and it's really not up to us as moderators either. Thank you, ma'am. As to make any discussion about what a certain particular ideology of a person has to correspond with what they're speaking or the modus of their topic is. But if there is any discrepancy, it's been noted. Yeah. So with that, we come to the end, and we'll have the final team. Team 2 of Scottish Church College. We will have Shaptak Moitro of the proposition coming forth upon the dais.
A very good afternoon to the respective panelists, the moderators and esteemed guests. My name is Shaptak Moitro from Scottish Church College, and I'll be speaking for the motion, and I'll be using English as the medium of language. I'll be starting my speech in 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Standing here as the last speaker for the motion, I find it quite ironical that no one has yet exactly devoured or destructured the motion at hand. I will provide a very simple destructuring of the motion into two particular aspects and angles, one philosophical angle and one pragmatic angle. For easement of my explaining, I will use the pragmatic angle first. Most of the speakers have been coming up and talking about spirituality being the sole model of connecting it with tourism, making it sustainable tourism. However, in reality, I'm here to give the first disruption, that is, Satyameva Jayate today has become Arthameva Jayate. In today's world, we find that individualism, materialism, consumerism to be very much accepted, which is not like the times when Swamiji took the yatra initially. However, I'm not saying that these things should be opposed as such. These things are very much accepted in today's world, and therefore, it seems that by influencing the government in a particular manner, with regard to self-realization and a deep understanding of human nature, sustainability can be achieved. How can this be done? The first argument that I'm putting forward is that striking a balance and reconciliation between scientific rationale and intuitiveness and spirituality within the society and within ourselves. Now, when we talk about this, we need to understand that to connect spirituality with sustainable tourism, we need a model. What is this model? The model does not rest on spirituality as most of the speakers have been deliberating on. The model solely rests upon Swamiji's yatra. The yatra was completely a spiritual journey. Yes, most of the opposition have been coming up and refuting the point regarding modernization. However, when we talk about modernization, we have to keep in mind Orientalism. However, that is not the ambit of this debate, so I will not sway into that. Keeping in mind, if we use Swamiji's yatra as the model, we can essentially understand that in today's developed world, or quote-unquote modernized world as most of the speakers would be comfortable in, it is more easier to take a path like that and implement it with sustainable tourism that already is there. Since we are having this debate, we can say that the consumerist methods or the individualist methods have not been working quite well. That is why we are having this debate in the first place. If those things would have worked, then we would not be looking into alternatives such as spirituality or any other thing to relate it with sustainable tourism as such. Now, to further explain my point, I will go into the philosophical aspect of it. A person traveling from the north to the south is likely to change significantly, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. Now, when we talk about this particular change, we need to consider the transition areas. The transition areas are particular within Swamiji's yatra. However, in today's world, we can combine it with our own necessities or benefits or easiness as such. Now, particularly when we talk about this north to south gap, we can say that cultural difference is one of the things that a person will learn from. When I talked about self-realization and a deep understanding of human nature, this is what I meant. The cultural homogenization that we need to avoid over here will come from this yatra. And therefore, I will end my speech with this particular analogy that when you are traveling to Rishikesh and when you are traveling to Pondicherry, you are traveling for two different purposes. When you are traveling to Kedarnath and when you are traveling in Thiruvananthapuram, you are traveling for two different objectives. So therefore, we need to keep in mind that spirituality does not necessarily be the sole model of it. However, the Swamiji's yatra can be used as a model for the sustainable tourism. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We will entertain one rebuttal. Wait for another second. Any more rebuttals? None. We'll seeing none. We'll have Loreto.
So don't you think you're really restricting the definition of spirituality when you say that you can't find spirituality in Pondicherry, but you can find it somewhere like Kedarnath? Don't you think spirituality is subjective and I can find it anywhere and everywhere I go?
Thank you.
Self-realization and deep understanding of human nature is what I equated spirituality with, and one can find it at Pondicherry and one can find it at Goa as well.
Thank you for the blaring response. And with that, we come to the last speaker of the day, Agnik Bhattacharya, and he will be speaking against the motion.
Good afternoon, esteemed guests, honored judges, ladies and gentlemen, and my fellow participants. First, I would like to start with saying that the motion proposed here today implies that Vivekananda's yatra can be used as a template, can be used as sort of a lens to understand about both spirituality and tourism in India. Now, first of all, we have to understand then that when Swamiji started his travels in India especially, he went not as Narendranath Dutta but as Swami Vivekananda, armed with only Sri Ma Sharada's blessings and the ochre robes of a monk on his body, his only possessions being a kamandalu, a lathi, and two of his favorite books, the Bhagavad Gita and the Imitation of Christ. He went from Varanasi to all the places in the then United Provinces, to the Himalayas, and right down to the very last rock in Kanyakumari that is now named after him. And during all of his travels, how did he travel? Most of it, of course, was traveling by foot. He traveled great distances with foot. He traveled in a third-class railway compartment if one of his admirers was so kind as to provide him with a ticket. And even after that, he fought with extreme hunger. He slept, he took shelter wherever he was provided shelter. And now, let us ask ourselves, how many of us here present can say that we can travel like Swamiji traveled there? Can we? Even after that, when he went to Chicago, we know about the famous incident when in a freezing night, the chills from the Great Lakes of Northern America were freezing him. Finding no shelter, he took shelter in an abandoned box. How many of us here can do that? Now, coming to the second point, is that the places that he went to were not just because they had very significant spiritual presence. He went everywhere. He went to Almora, Nainital. He also went to Mysore and Cochin and all the other places. Why? Just because they had a very specific spiritual connection with them. If we want to experience spiritualism, let's say even through Swami Vivekananda, do we have to retrace his footsteps? Go to all the places that he went to? Then let's say if you want to do that, this very room, which is now has been converted into a seminar hall, used to be a classroom in our college. Swami Vivekananda came here, studied as a student, which was then General Assembly Institution. He probably attended classes here as well. So sitting here, just by sitting here, can you experience Swami Vivekananda and his spirituality? Can you experience that? So just by retracing his steps, can you actually learn about spiritualism in any way or his teachings? That's the very basic point that I want to put forward to you. If you want to travel, please travel. No one is stopping you from traveling. But if you want to travel with the mindset that I will travel by retracing his steps and see all the places that he saw. You are sitting here, see this classroom. Do you feel his presence here? If you
really want to feel spiritualism, if you want to feel Swami Vivekananda, you can sit, you can read his books, you can read about him in his own home and still feel the same. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa Dev attained Bhav Samadhi just by listening to Narendranath Singh. He did not go to other places. He did not sit in front of Ma Kali and attain that. So your spiritual journey is extremely your personal journey. Just by imitating, just by checking the list out of this is the places that Swami Vivekananda went. Just a checklist cannot provide you as a template for your own spiritual fulfillment. I would like to wrap up my speech just by saying that if you really want spiritual fulfillment, don't find it in any other form, way, shape, or any other person. Find it within yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your fine speech. We'll have, yes, St. Xavier's University for the rebuttals.
So, since the topic mostly revolved around tourism, which interconnected with spirituality, don't you think the ideologies of Vivekananda can help us in building a sustainable tourism? I think you deviated from the topic a little towards spiritual realization, which was great, by the way.
I'm sorry.
Could you please just concisely frame your question and no statements, please?
Okay. Since the topic revolves around tourism and its interconnection with spiritualism, what do you think the ideologies of Vivekananda can help us in developing that interlink?
I would first like to suggest that please don't try to interpolate his teachings, his ideals into every single topic that you can find. That's the first point. Sustainable tourism is a very good thing. Please encourage it. Please spread awareness about it. But please don't interpolate Swamiji and every single one of his teachings and ideals everywhere. That's, I think, my answer.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. With this, can we have a massive round of applause for each and every one of you? Thank you so much for being there, bearing with us. It's been, I think, more than 3 hours since we've been sitting here listening to all of our speeches. Before, something which I would like to personally mention over here is that the speeches, of course, there are wonderful speakers, there are average speakers, and there are, the most important category are the speakers who are debating for the first time over here and have daunted to come here upon the podium and they are intimidated, but at the same time they want to express themselves. I found 2 people over here, and regardless of the fact that there were no points made, I understand that, but the initiative, the encouragement is something which is very important, as we debaters should be giving to them, so that they can learn and they can evolve from their from the evolution as a future debater. So can we have another round of applause for these debaters? Thank you so much for being so daunting enough and come forth here to at least try, because that trial is all that matters. Yeah, to Moinak.
I'll be saying very uninteresting things now. This round is currently over, so I would request all the teams to please disperse. Okay, so as you might, some of you might already know, the second topic which has been decided as the motion for the final round is the House believes Bahujana Sukhaya Bahujana Hitaya Cha, for the happiness of many, for the welfare of the many, of Swami Vivekananda can help achieve SDGs as far as tourism is concerned. I would like to point out that there are a couple of things to think about when you are looking at this topic. First of all, I am sort of hinting at how you should create your structures. First of all, there's the exclusive stress on a particular philosophy when it comes to the promotion of tourism. Also, there is a stress on SDGs and the link between SDGs and tourism. So these are the issues which should be tackled in your speeches. And with skillful use of words, these aspects can also be deconstructed of the topic. I'll repeat the topic once again. The house believes Bahujana Sukhaya Bahujana Hitaya Cha, for the happiness of the many, for the welfare of the many, of Swami Vivekananda can help achieve SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, as far as tourism in India is concerned. Please note, for the happiness of the many, for the welfare of the many, because it will also form a crucial part of your arguments. So with that, the topic is given. You have 30 minutes from now to prepare on the topic. We'll begin for the final. You have 25 minutes to prepare on the topic. So we'll begin with the final round on 3:10. 10 minutes past 3. Okay? See, both the topics have been sent. The second one. Has everyone got it? Okay. The first one is immaterial. The first one was covered in the qualification round. Only the second topic is to be considered as the topic for the final round. For your convenience, I'll just edit it out.
You've been waiting for almost 3-4 hours now. Now, we have picked up 5 students from the 4 people who were speaking for the motion. We have picked up 5 students. People who were speaking against the motion, we have picked up 5 students. Now the challenge is that next round, the 5 people who won the first round, speaking for the motion, will have to speak against the motion. And the 5 people who were speaking against the motion and qualified will now have to show speaking for the motion. From the top 5, we will be picking up again final last 2 winners. Winners for the motion 2, winners against the motion 2. It's clear? We have given you the motion. The motion will once again be made clear by our moderator once I give you the results. Okay?
Just to clarify, we will have best speaker for, first runner-up for, and best speaker against, first runner-up against, and we also have a college award. Best team.
Before I hand it over to Madam for announcement of the top 5 for the motion and top 5 against the motion, let me congratulate each one of you. Everyone have been a fantastic speaker. And most important thing is the participation and knowledge enrichment. I am sure whether you qualify for the next round or we don't qualify for the next round, in any case, you will, once you leave the room, you'll be more enriched than what you were in the morning because of the quality of speakers we had today. Everyone is a champion, but again, we had to shortlist few of them for the next round. So, Madam, if you can announce names.
So I think all of you, sir just mentioned, but I'm just reiterating, all of you all were fantastic and you tried your best, but you know everybody cannot stand number 1 in the class. So there could be a tie, but we had to choose and it was difficult for us. You saw us working over here. So, I mean, there was a lot of many things, most of it matched. Both of us, we did individually and we kind of really matched. So that means there was a consensus and we could pick up the best. But that sometimes what happens, you know, when you're on the stage and if you're out of practice or if it's the first time, you may feel a bit nervous or something, you're just not in the mood. But that should not deter you because it's only practice and you can be the best. I've known people who have stammered. My school was a co-education school and I had a senior who used to stammer. So we had an excellent English teacher and you won't believe, I was brought up in Jamshedpur and we had some of the best schools there and he used to stand first in the elocution contest, inter schools, and there are so many schools in Jamshedpur. So nothing can stop you if you really believe in yourself, and you'll do well. Okay? So all of you would get a participation certificate, definitely. You have come all the way, and you know, it's yes, please wait till the end. And I think it's a great initiative you all are participating here, which is organized by BCCI. So the 5 names which are for from Loreto College, Chandramouli Mazumdar.
Please stand up.
So pardon me, my pronunciation for the name may not be correct, because I don't know exactly the pronunciation.
Come in front. Sir is asking you to come in front.
So somehow we could make out the spelling, so it may not be very correct, so pardon me for that. Next, from Scottish Church College, Shreshtargo Paul. Congratulations. Ashutosh College next, Junior Javed. Great. St. Xavier's University, Ahana Bhattacharya. And then from Scottish, Soptok Moitra. The names for the against are from St. Paul's Cathedral College, Dipayan Samantha. From Scottish Church College, Gausia Parveen. St. Xavier's College, Agniv Gupta. Scottish Church College, Agnik Bhattacharya. St. Xavier's University, Jyoti Raditya. Am I right? Yes, congratulations all of you. So,
Ma'am, can you please give me the list? I'll just make up the list for the speakers.
my handwriting.
Thank you, ma'am. So I hope all of you know your original stances for the qualifying round. Your stances will be swapped for this round. Please keep in mind and do your research accordingly. We know that you might face a paucity of time. That's why we are giving you a bit extra time. You have till 3:20 to.
One more addition, Vartika Gupta. I think I'm. Where is this?
Where's Vartika Gupta?
Yeah.
Why Vartika didn't come?
Only you were good, but don't go like a Rajdhani Express, please.
3:20.
Whoever spoke for the motion will now say against the motion. Get ready according to that. We are going to send you the order in which you are going to speak.
Shoptok and Vartika will also be speaking against. Those who will be now speaking for the motion, Dipayon, Ghosia, Agniv, Agnik and Jyotiraditya. All will be speaking now for the motion for the final round. Just to make it clear. Yes. We'll let you know the order. Okay, I'll drop one.
Three, Javed Junaid against. 4, Gausia Parveen for. 5, Shoptok Moitro against. 6, Jyotiraditya for. 7, Chandraboli against. 8, Ogniv Gupta for. 9, Shreshtargo Paul against. 10, Ognik Bhattacharya for. 11, Vartika Gupta against. And 13 is Agniv Gupta for. Last is Vartika Gupta against. Who is Chandraboli? Okay. Ahona and Dipayon, are they here? Ahona is here. Ahona will begin. Number 2 is Dipayon. Number 3, Javed Junaid. You all got the order in the group? The sequence has been sent in the group. Where is Ahona Bhattacharya? Okay. You are the first speaker speaking against. After you, we will ask Dipayon Shamanto to get ready. Javed Junaid is here in the room. Okay, Javed is 3rd. Gausia, you are 4th. Okay. Shoptok is gone out. He's 5. Jyotiraditya is here. Okay, you are 6th. These first 6 people, for the time being, get ready fast. We'll begin in, say, another 5 minutes. We'll begin with Ahona. Participant, please come up, get ready. Ahana Bhattacharya, come up.
Okay. I'll get a bell at the 4th minute.
Yes, right. One bell at the 4th minute and 3 bells when you're done with your speech.
Okay. Okay. I'll be going against the motion. I'm Ahana Bhattacharya from St. Xavier's University. I'll be starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Right. Since I'm the first speaker today, let me define the motion for the House, right? The motion stands that happiness for many and the welfare of many is the way will help achieve the SDG goals with regard to tourism. And I'll tell you exactly how that doesn't happen. What is the very ideology that Vivekananda stood on with regard to Bahujana Sukhaya, Bahujana Hitayata provides an aesthetic vision to this aphorism. Said that the Brahma, the enlightened one never seeks fruits or never seeks the happiness for his action but works for the welfare of others, right? Now this doesn't work in the present scenario, and I'll give you a clash, the clash of realism versus idealism, right? This is where today's debate stands on, because what might be idealistic, that as a very enlightened one following the teachings of Vivekananda, I will not want to look at the fruits of my efforts or look at the happiness of my efforts, but at the end of the day, that is the human nature, right? The human nature is pleasure, the human nature is happiness of oneself. And let me make it very clear that happiness, what is good for me, what is my happiness is a very, very subjective quality, right? What makes me happy might not make you happy, and that in itself is a very difficult point of view where we stand to equalize the ideology in saying that is the ideology that will help us take it forward. And I'll explain as to how that does not help tourism or the SDGs forward, because there are 3 pointers as to the sustainable tourism in India, right? The 3 are environment, natural resources and wildlife. My happiness can come from eating a lamb. I might want to kill a lamb today and eat it, but that is not good for the wildlife, right? I might want to make very stylish timber cupboards in my house, but that is again not good for the environment. So what is my happiness might not be beneficial for the environment as a whole. So while Vivekananda's ideologies are extremely idealistic and extremely we should look forward to someday reaching them, they are not the way forward to achieving the sustainable development goals in tourism. Because understand why sustainable development goals in tourism or in general have not reached fruition till now. Why do we have to wait till 2030 is because of lack of initiatives by the government, right? And that is where the problem lies. The problem doesn't lie in the ideology. The ideology is proper. The problem lies in the initiative. So any way forward will have to be looked at from the point of view of the government trying to move forward by it, right? Understand that we right now live in a very different socio-political climate than what Swami Vivekananda lived in. Of course, we have to take some examples from his time, but at the same time, the times that he lived at and the times that we live at are completely different. Now we are more driven by religion differences, right? So in a very secular country like India, Swamiji, who was a very big proponent of the Hindu religion, it will be very partial or very not secular for the government to put forward ideologies that have been inspired solely by one person in one religion, because that would be kind of segregating one sect of the people. Because understand that in a country like India, which consists of so many cultures and so many different types of people, different religions, it is very difficult to tell them that, look, this is the only ideology that you have to follow. It will help, but that is not the only ideology you can follow, right? Because we have better ideologies. What we can do is we can help his teachings be inculcated into the newer generation as just what it is, a teaching, as history. But completely and extremely putting the same exact things into play will be extremely idealistic in nature, which won't stand in the real world today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahona. You may now go back to your place. Next, we have Deepayan Samanto speaking for the motion.
সবাইকে আরেকবার নমস্কার, আমার জাজদেরকেও আরেকবার নমস্কার জানাই এবং আমি আমার বক্তৃতা শুরু করছি 3, 2, 1। আমি ভালো আছি। এখন পরিস্থিতি যা, আমি ভালো থাকাটা খুব জরুরি, ঠিক আছে? মানে আমি কতটা ভালো আছি, ফিজিক্যালি আমি কতটা ভালো আছি, মানসিকভাবে আমি কতটা ভালো আছি, সেটা খুব জরুরি। কিন্তু সামাজিকভাবে আমার যে একটা ভালো থাকা দরকার, সমাজকে আমাদের একটা অবদান আমাদের সমাজের প্রতিও থেকে যায়, সেটা মানুষ ভুলে যায়। মানুষ ভাবে আমি ভালো আছি মানে আমি ফিজিক্যালি ফিট, মেন্টালি স্টেবল, তার মানে আমি ভালো আছি। মানুষ শরীরচর্চা করতে যাচ্ছে জিমে, মানুষ আজকে মেন্টালি স্টেবল থাকার জন্য ধ্যান করছে, কেউ যোগা করছে, কিন্তু সামাজিকভাবে যে আমাদের একটা ফিটনেস মানে সামাজিক একটা অবদান দরকার, সমাজকে আমাদের একটা দেখা উচিত, সেটা মানুষ ভুলে যায়। তাই অনেকের সুখের জন্য বা অনেকের কল্যাণের জন্য, যেটা স্বামী বিবেকানন্দ বলেছেন, বহুজনা সুখায় বহুজনা হিতায় চ, তো সেটা খুব দরকার। এবং এটা ট্যুরিজমে কী করে আসছে? তো প্রথমত এসডিজি যেটা মানে সাস্টেনেবল ডেভেলপমেন্ট গোল, এগুলো কি বলে আসলে? এটা আসলে এইগুলো বলতে চায় যে পভার্টি মানে দারিদ্রতা, তারপর ক্ষুধার্ত, এই জিনিসগুলো আমাদেরকে দেশ থেকে সরাতে হবে, তবেই আমরা সামাজিকভাবে ভালো থাকতে পারবো। তো আমার বলার এটা প্রথম পয়েন্টটা হচ্ছে এই যে ট্যুরিজম হলে কি শুধু ডাইরেক্টলি ট্যুরিস্ট যেখানে আমরা যাচ্ছি সেখানে শুধু আমরা ইকোনমিক্যালি সে জায়গাটাকে দিচ্ছি, অর্থনৈতিকভাবে কি আমরা সেখানে শুধু আপলিফমেন্ট করছি? না, আমরা কিন্তু পাশাপাশি আরও অনেক কিছু করছি। আমরা একটা জায়গায় ঘুরতে গেলাম, সেখানে আমরা কিছু খেলাম, তাহলে একজনকে আমরা এমপ্লয়মেন্ট দিলাম, তাহলে সে আর আনএমপ্লয়েড কিন্তু থাকলো না। 1 নম্বর এসডিজিটা আমাদের ক্লিয়ার হলো। তারপর আমরা সেখানে গিয়ে একটা জায়গায় থাকলাম, সো এখানে আমাদের একটা পভার্টি কমছে, তাহলে আর একটা রোজগারের একটা মানে বাড়ছে আমাদের। তো এই জিনিসগুলো আমাদেরকে মাথায় থাকতে হবে। ট্যুরিজমকে আমরা এগিয়ে নিয়ে যেতে হবে আরেকটু, মানে স্বামীজির ভাষায় যেটা স্বামীজি বলতে চাইছেন সবার জন্য করা উচিত। আজকের দিনে দাঁড়িয়ে আমি একটা জায়গায় ঘুরতে যাব সেলফলি, সেখানে যদি কেউ বিপদে পড়ে বা সেখানে যদি কেউ কোনো অসুবিধার সম্মুখীন হয়, তাহলে আমি হাত গুটিয়ে চলে আসবো। এখন এই 21 শতাব্দীতে সেটাই হয়েছে। আগের দিন আমি এই বাইপাস দিয়ে পাস করছিলাম, তো সেখানে একটা দেখলাম গাড়ির টায়ার পাঞ্চার হয়েছে, একটা লোকও ঘুরে তাকাচ্ছে না, সামনে গ্যারেজও নেই। তো এইগুলো আমাদেরকে কমাতে হবে, কারণ সবার দেখো আজকে তার টায়ারটা পাঞ্চার হয়েছে, কালকে তোমার টায়ারটাও পাঞ্চার হতে পারে, তখনও যদি কেউ না থাকে। তো তুমি আজকাল আবার মানুষের এই বিষয়টা খুব হচ্ছে, ওই তো ও করছে বলে আমি করব কেন? আবার কেউকে ধরো স্পিড করতে বারণ করলাম রাস্তায়, তো তখন সে বলে ওই তো ও করছে আমি কেন করবো না? আবার এখানে লেখা আছে নাকি যে প্রস্রাব করবেন না, তাহলে আমি কেন করবো না? তো এই জিনিসগুলো আমাদের কমাতে হবে। সমাজটা কিন্তু মানে এটা তো আমরা সবাই মানুষ রে বাবা, এটা তো আর ডাইনোসর বা কোনো পশু পাখি এই এখানে এসে থাকছে না। কারণ ডাইনোসরদের মধ্যেও এই ব্যাপারটা ছিল যে একজন আরেকজনকে খেয়ে নিচ্ছে, আরেকজন এই 21 শতাব্দীতে মানুষ যে একে ওকে খাচ্ছে, তো সেরকমভাবে দেখতে গেলে তো একদিন মানুষও বিলুপ্ত হয়ে যাবে। তাই স্বামীজির ভাষায় আমাদেরকে নিজেদেরভাবেই দেখতে হবে, মানে আমি আর ও আলাদা নই, আমরা ভাই এবং বোন। তাকে আমি চিনি না, নাই চিনতে পারি তাকে আমি হয়তো প্রথমবার দেখছি, কিন্তু তা বলে এটা নয় যে তাকে আমরা মানে সে বিপদে পড়লে আমরা হাত বাড়াবো না। তো সেই রকমভাবে এসডিজিগুলো আমাকে ফুলফিল করতে হবে। তো এসডিজির মধ্যে কী কী আসছে? দারিদ্রতা কমাতে হবে, ক্ষুধার্ততা কমাতে হবে, তারপর আমরা যে একটা ট্যুরিজমে যাচ্ছি সেখানে কি আমরা স্থানীয় ক্ষমতায়ন করছি না, মানে লোকাল এম্পাওয়ারমেন্ট করছি না, সেটাও আমরা করছি। এবং এইগুলো থেকে আমাদের এসডিজিগুলো আসছে। তাহলে আমি আরেকবার সাম আপ করে দিই পুরোটা। আমাদেরকে প্রথমত সমাজকে দেখতে হবে, ট্যুরিজমের মাধ্যমে এসডিজি বাড়ে, এটা সত্যি কথা। কারণ একটা জায়গায় ঘুরতে গেলে শুধু সেখানে খেলাম দিলাম সেটা হয় না, খাচ্ছি যে একটা দোকানে, সেখানে এমপ্লয়মেন্ট আমরা প্রোভাইড করছি, সেখানে পভার্টি কমে যাচ্ছে। তো এই জিনিসগুলো আমাদের মাথায় রাখতে হবে। আমি এটা বলে আমার বক্তৃতা শেষ করছি। থ্যাংক ইউ।
So you have about 1 minute left. Do you want to speak more? Okay, thank you. So next we have Javed speaking against. Javed Junaid.
A very good afternoon everyone. I am Junaid Javed representing Ashutosh College speaking against the motion. I start with the timer. 3, 2, 1. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action. Into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. The motion on the floor today is, the House believes, Bahujana Sukhaya cha, Bahujana Hitaya cha, and Swami Vivekananda can help achieve SDG as far as tourism is concerned. And let me explain the term to you. And this was mentioned in the Rig Veda, and this means, in the happiness of the people lies the happiness of the king, in the welfare of the people. And let me talk about the Indian government. Who is the king here? The corrupt politicians. And what are they doing? Exploiting the Indian civilians and looting crores of money and not uplifting and developing the country. And now let me talk about the Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals that starts with no poverty. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, a child in India dies every 10 seconds due to hunger. And you talk about tourism, you talk about enjoying the vacations when a person is dying, where people are dying out of no food. And ladies and gentlemen, the second point is zero hunger. And hunger is a very big thing in India. And a lot of people don't even have the money to buy an extra cloth for themselves in some occasion. And we talk about tourism here. And the third point is good health and well-being. Swamiji always emphasized on science, and he asked us to imbibe science and spirituality as a whole, not to differentiate them. But what the modern priests, Maulvis and the religious leaders are doing, they are just preaching religion, and that too in a very wrong way. They are just dividing India. But what needs to be done? What needs to be done is that we need to imbibe science, we need to imbibe the Western culture in terms of medicine, science, technology. But we cannot forget our roots of being an Indian. And the fourth point I would like to mention, the main reason tourism is suffering in India is because of the very high crime rate. Women are being raped. Women are being tortured. Men are being tortured when the tourist comes to India. They are being exploited just because they don't know the local languages like Bengali, Hindi or Tamil or Marathi. And whenever we go to a place, we can bargain. But when a tourist comes, they do not know the currency system. They do not know what the actual price of a thing is. So they are told that a packet of cigarette costs 200 rupees when it actually costs 50. So like this, they are being exploited. And in India, Swamiji always emphasized on very good infrastructure. But what is happening in India? The government is issuing tenders for good roads and issuing notices that so many crores, so many millions of money would be used to uplift the people of the country, to enhance tourism. But what is actually happening? The money is going to the pockets of the corrupt politicians and nothing good is happening. That is the reason every now and then we see in the news that accidents are taking place in the roads, tourists are being killed in Kashmir, women are being raped in Goa. And ladies and gentlemen, another big problem. We see a lot of Indians speaking a lot about India on social media. I would like to mention the Lakshadweep cause, the rift between Maldives and Lakshadweep. A lot of celebrities, a lot of actors whom we admire, they are talking a lot, they're writing posts that India is best, we should visit India, Lakshadweep. But what do? They are the ambassadors of India whom we admire. But whenever they get vacations, whenever they have a success of a movie or they win a game, they go to some other country and they enjoy the vacations. So what are they doing? They are just betraying their own country. So ladies and gentlemen, and another very important thing is that we need proper justice, peace and strong institutions. The relations between the states needs to be good. We are a very big country. We are the 7th largest country in the world. And we have a lot of places to visit. And as Swamiji visited the places just to acquire knowledge, we all should visit the places. Not just to click pictures, to post them on Instagram, Facebook, and to boast, but to acquire knowledge from the places. We should learn, we should understand all the religions. Spirituality, as Swamiji said, is not what is preached. It is what is there inside you. And we should always follow Swamiji's guidelines, his ideals, to lead a better way. And that is the only way India can do better as a country in terms of tourism and as a whole. And let me talk about a very trivial issue. During the COVID-19, India had long back discovered a treatment for cancer, and that was the Human Genome Project. And that was supposed to use the human genomic sequence to cure diseases like cancer, AIDS. But what did they do? They just use the
Sir.
samples to create clones, and they are just selling it to the other countries.
Please wrap up.
Thank you so much, and I am honored to be speaking here today on the topic Bahujana Sukhaya, Bahujana Hitaya Cha. Swami Vivekananda can help us achieve to SDG as far as tourism is concerned, but that can never happen unless and until we
Sir.
Indians help and we
Thank you, sir.
understand that in our minds. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. So next we have Ghausia Parveen speaking for the motion from Scottish Church College.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ghausia Parveen from Scottish Church College, and I'm going for the statement. So, the philosophy of Swamiji's were written centuries ago, and one of the speaker has mentioned that we can't differentiate between the idealism and the realism right now. But it's actually not true. If we see the practical implementation of the philosophy of Swamiji in India, I'll start with the preamble of our constitution and the DPSP, Directive Principle of State Policy, which has still not been implemented but are yet to be implemented, and in every aspect the philosophy of Swamiji is present there, and we are apprehended in the present scenario too, even though it was written centuries ago. The preamble and the DPSP says that the promotion of educational and economic interest of the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and the minorities, we should work on it. And moreover, the sustainable goals, like the philosophy of Swamiji focuses on the goal 1, that is poverty alleviation. Goal 8, decent work and economic growth. Moreover, goal 11, sustainable cities. Goal 12, responsible consumption and production of and also respecting local culture, preserving heritage and implementing eco-friendly tourism practices. So the people who are speaking about that it is not been implemented or it is not practical, then they're totally wrong. And I can prove this statement with various case studies which is evident in our India only. I'll start with the responsible tourism mission in South India, majorly Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Like they call for the welfare and the happiness of all, and it has contributed to the sustainable development goals such as poverty alleviations. Like the common people, the local people who are not even aware that how this major technology or such stuff actually works, but these people are actually have like involved themselves in the promotion of their local culture, their handicrafts, their artisans, which cannot be promoted or being shown at a higher level. But if we just focus on the SGDS and the tourism, the sustainable tourism, then we can see that in the responsible tourism mission, the villagers are engaged as a host. They are also showcasing their cultures and article skills around, and it makes the sustainable livelihood. Example number 2, Spiti Valley in Himachal. Spiti Valley in Himachal. Like they also focus as a responsible tourism, like conservation of biodiversity, and also like they are also focusing on the sustainable development goals like climate action, life on land, life below water. So how come we are under the impression that the philosophy of Swamiji is not evident in the practicality of life? No. I have the third example, empowering the Adivasi women via sericulture in Manipur. Like they focus on the low capital investment, short gestation, high labor intensive and good economic return. The women there have involved in the sericulture, and this has actually promoted the business of the sericulture worldwide. Why? Because of the sustainable tourism out there. Moreover, I would like to conclude, like it does not focus solely on the economic gains, but it also strive on holistic development, like the philosophy or the advocates of the social justice or the empowerment of the common people or the women out there who are neglected at every aspect. As we can see, in every society it is seen that how women are neglected. But if we just see that how we can correlate the philosophy of Swamiji along with the SGDS, then we can see that the local women out there are involved in the business, in the local business out there, and thus attracting the local tourist. So to conclude, I can say that specific statement that it is a idealistic view but not a realistic view. So my speech would have like sufficed them that it has actually turned into a practical view. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Your time is up. So next we have Shoptok Moitro speaking against the motion from Scottish Church College.
A very good afternoon to everyone, respected panelists, respected moderators, sir, and esteemed guests. My name is Shoptok Moitro from Scottish Church College, and I'll be speaking against the motion with English as my medium of language. I'll be beginning my speech in 3, 2, 1. Now, when we particularly talk about sustainable development goals, something that strikes my mind is something that Swamiji himself hinted on at the World Parliament of Religions, is that all religions lead to the same path of salvation. And similarly, we equate it with the Sustainable Development Goals, and we find that all the SDGs lead to the same path of salvation, that is sustainability itself. Now, when the proposition comes up and talks about particularly Bahujana Sukhaya, Bahujana Hitaya, for happiness of many, welfare of many, the very common aspects that I found are community empowerment, which is basically empowering the local people, encouraging them to get into the tourism sector, to promote the tourism, therefore creating employment avenues as well, uplifting poverty in that area, and overall creating a quote-unquote developed sector in that particular region. It may be a rural region, it may be a region of historic importance, it can be any region. The other very common aspects that are maybe yet to come or maybe have already come are certain perspectives, such as the cultural perspectives. Promoting the indigenous cultures, this essentially protects them as well, because you give them an identity, you give them protection, you give them heritage, you give them protection. All this sums up to environmental conservation overall. Implementing eco-friendly practices in tourism, that is of course one of the basic things that we talk about when we are debating on sustainable tourism. How can these be done? Education and awareness. Education and awareness is very important. We need to teach everyone about the Sustainable Development Goals so that they learn about it, they don't make mistakes regarding to it, and they implement it in their own way, however it may be possible. So all this leads to a single two-word sentence, that is infrastructural development. Now let me talk about the important aspect when we are particularly equating it with Bahujana Sukhaya and Bahujana Hitaya. We find that it is merely economical enrichment and not essentially spiritual enrichment. The local community empowerment that I was talking about, it essentially leads to politicization and identity politics. Pseudo-minority appeasement and pseudo-secularism will take place. Why? Because the government is needed to implement certain policies, and the government needs to stay in power. For that, the government needs a vote bank. It is very much obvious that when we equate it with local people seem like a very good option for vote bank. Secondly, when we talk about the cultural aspect, promoting indigenous cultures, it exactly equates to like cultural promotion, connecting it with regional factors. Therefore, we are regionalizing our country more and more. Our country, given the fact that it's already very much regionalized, we can talk about very large scale issues such as the Manipur issue. Then also we see that if we equate it with the cultural factor, we see it is further getting regionalized. Talking about another thing is the pedestalization of poverty to attract foreign tourism. This is something that we find very common when we talk about particularly local empowerment or as such, because we often equate it with rural upliftment as well. So recently there has been a backlash on the famous British singer Dua Lipa regarding this particular issue. Many of you might know that. Last but not the least, environmental degradation. But why environmental degradation in particular? Because I talked about infrastructural development. Now, when we talk about infrastructural development, all these are of course included. These are very much important aspects, but what's the material aspect? The material aspect is business, as simple as that. Commercialization of the entire sector will take place when we talk about this particular upliftment or community empowerment as such. The proposition talks about a very idealistic approach because this tourism dependency is not very viable when we talk about a country's economy. The proposition talks about a very hegemonic approach because they talk about a top-down approach for economic enrichment, having education as a method to essentially implement it all. Therefore, I rest my case with the fact that the commercialization with this particular ideology will not work. In that case, you are turning it into Bahujana Dhanayata, Bahujana Hitaya, once again. And I did not even speak about religion as yet, because religion will come a lot later, and I don't need to deliberate on religion much more than that. I will just end my speech with a small analogy. Suppose I am a local at somewhere, and I'm promoting promoting tourism over there by my own, about to start a commercialized sector of my own. What am I, a local or a dalal? Thank you.
Thank you, Shoptok, for the speech. Next, speaking for the motion, we have Jyotiraditya Mojumdar, right? Jyotiraditya Mojumdar from St. Xavier's University.
Okay, so this is Jyotiraditya Mojumdar. I'll start in 3, 2, 1. Okay, this is Jyotiraditya Mojumdar from St. Xavier's University, Kolkata. Am I audible? Okay, fine. I'll be getting a timer in 4 minutes, and then
1 tap at 4 minutes and 3 taps when your time is over.
Okay, fine. So I'll be starting in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to one and all present over here. The motion of the House states that this House believes that Bahujana Sukhaya, Bahujana Hitayacha of Swami Vivekananda can help achieve SDGs, that is the Sustainable Development Goals, as far as the tourism in India is concerned. Now, let's talk about the two pertinent issues that we were discussing. This is Bahujana Sukhaya and Bahujana Hitayacha. It's a evergreen principle and SDG goals. SDG goals is a very pertinent, relevant 20th century, 21st century cause that each and every member nations of UN needs to fulfill at any given cost. Moving forward to it, the entire burden upon the side proposition will fall upon the fact that fulfillment of SDGs via the principles of Swami Vivekananda, which will help in promotions of tourism in India. Now try to understand, for the welfare of many and for the happiness of many, for the welfare of all, we need to consider that promoting tourism on a wider aspect is a social good. It's not a social evil, right? Now, how can we do it? There can be commercial aspect for it. There can be a spreading of awareness for it. Now, try to understand, unless and until you are yourself educated about your own region, unless and until being a citizen of Kolkata, unless and until if you are aware about your surroundings, how will you promote that particular area? So, the first approach that Swami Vivekananda said was happiness of many. Happiness can be achieved through attaining of education by exploring more and more areas. And what's the wrong in that? If a particular country, if the member nation, if the local body, if the government promotes this particular idea of attaining knowledge and thereby promoting about your own area, that is a common campaign that was launched, that is local ke liye vocal. Why should it not be promoted on more and more ground? Why should you not promote your domestic and your commercial domestic appliances at this point of time? Moving forward to it, I was astounded thinking about the fact that there were many challenges that were thrown on the side proposition side. Let me give you a very brief and a very pertinent example talking about our neighboring state, that is Odisha. Odisha is a state which gets hit by cyclonic winds each and every year, and each and every year things are getting way and more detrimental. But can Odisha not fight back? It is Navin Patnaik's, that is the Chief Minister of Odisha, it is through his initiative that Odisha can fight back each and every year, to this extent that Odisha has a growth of 875% of inflow of foreign tourists than last year, 2021 and 2022, and 110% of growth of domestic visitors in Odisha as compared to 2021. This in itself proves for a fact that if you have the initiative to promote happiness of communities, you can promote tourism in India and follow the SDG goals that are there.
a very pertinent quotation that was there, that initiative is doing the right thing without being told. This, said by Victor Hugo, is very relevant to this time, as a matter of fact that things are now being fulfilled if you only have the correct mind and the correct mechanism of proving things to be right. Yes, curtailing social evil through tourism is quite a bit of a challenge, and to be honest, it's a bit of an abstract that things were being talked about, right? Public awareness, proper policing should be there so as to reduce the causes of inflicting, pain to tourists, or sorry, a trigger warning, but inflicting like sexual harassment to tourists out there in Goa and other beach areas. How can that be curtailed? Through proper educational knowledge, through proper sexual studies in proper institutions. However, tourism can promote in this particular fact that India in itself is a country which promotes not only wealthier sections of the tourist attraction, but also on the very particular levels of tribal and aborigines area of India in itself. As a matter of fact, the Jarva areas in itself, they are very much self-sufficient about their own resources. As a matter of fact, Government of India takes initiative so as to communicate with them, so as to cater to their needs. Don't you think this is a good initiative by the Government of India itself, irrespective of the political party that is leading it at this point of time? Moving forward to it, just rounding up this entire particular issue of Bahujana Sukhaya, Bahujana Hitaya of Swami Vivekananda can actually help achieve SDG goals. There are primarily 3 SDG goals which are pertaining to tourism, if I'm not wrong, out of the 17 goals. I do realize the fact that India is quite behind in achieving all of this sustainable development goals, but an initiative is just a move forward, just a way forward to it. Having nothing in our own hand or just taking a big initiative towards a proper leap towards the future is something which India is proud enough to do it forward with, not only its domestic resources but also with its financial and foreign help. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jyotiraditya. So next, speaking against the motion, we have Chandraboli Majumdar from Loreto College.
3, 2, 1. Let us talk about the practical aspect of tourism. Tourism is a multi-dimensional industry where there are broadly categorized 2 stakeholders. These 2 stakeholders are your industry reapers and your industry stakeholders. So industry stakeholders are basically your tourist operators, your government policy makers, your stakeholders and reapers. Now, okay.
It's alright. Do you want me to pause the time for some?
Yeah, 1 sec.
Okay.
Okay, can I start again?
Yes. No, you have elapsed a bit of time, so you can start from where you left off.
Okay, go ahead, start it.
Okay.
Right. So tourism is a multi-dimensional industry where the needs and the welfare of every single stakeholder does not align with each other. Now tourism is so complex and so multidimensional that it has been linked by the UN World Tourism Organization to every single of the 17 SDGs. Now the ones that are very specific is no poverty, SDG 1, SDG 2, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation, infrastructure, reduced inequalities, and responsible consumption of produce. Now, the point where every single speaker has failed to mention is what does many mean? The motion clearly states Bahujana Sukhaya and Bahujana Hita. So it means welfare of the many, happiness of the many. What every single speaker has failed to do is define what many means. Many does not mean all. Let us not confuse many and all. What is your definition of many? And who are you leaving out when you talk about many? How can you ever talk about gender equality and reduced inequalities when you're talking about the welfare of the many and not the welfare of the all? That's the point. That's contention number 1. 3 points of contention. Contention number 1, what is many? You simply cannot for an industry like tourism, which is as holistic and as multidimensional, you simply cannot talk about the welfare of many and not talk about the welfare of all. If a single individual, if a single stakeholder is left out of the equation, the entire mechanism of sustainable tourism fails. Contention number 2, happiness and welfare do not have a linear relationship. Happiness of one person does not necessarily lead to the welfare of another group. For example, Airbnbs. Airbnbs give a lot of profit, a lot of economic development, and even contribute decently to sustainability. But Airbnbs, if you talk about happiness of many, welfare of many, it is giving happiness to many. But what about the welfare of the community? Because of Airbnbs, the communities become fragmented. So where is the relationship between happiness and welfare? My respected speaker before me from Xavier's pointed out that happiness can mean very different things to different people. That's contention number 2. Contention number 3 is that tourism requires a holistic approach. You simply cannot focus on happiness of many and welfare of many instead of talking about the all. Jeremy Bentham, a proponent of utilitarianism, said happiness of the greatest number. And it was refuted and criticized because it left behind minorities. It left behind local communities. According to Vivekananda's principles, not a single person should be left behind. So don't you think that Bahujana, and when you're talking about many and not every single individual, all, you're entirely going against the concept of unity and moving forward and progressing as one group, because you simply cannot talk about local communities benefiting. For example, hotels will benefit, economy, profits, lots of profit, that will provide them with the utmost happiness. But will it provide welfare to local communities? Will it provide welfare to homestays? Will it provide welfare to every other stakeholder that is a part of the tourism industry? Thank you.
Oh, you're done? Okay.
Okay, concluding, if I had to conclude, then I would say, I'm so sorry. If I had to conclude, I would say that the two sides or aspects of tourism, that is the people who are come from a privileged standpoint, and the people who are the local communities who require benefits, who require to reap benefits, they are not sitting on the same side of the table, they are sitting against each other. Their happiness and welfare, you have to reach a point of compromise. You simply cannot talk about the happiness of many and the welfare of many. You have to talk about happiness and welfare of all, because at the end of the day, these two stakeholders are sitting against each other on a table and not next to each other. Thank you.
Thanks. You may go back to your place. There are no questions. So, next speaking for the motion, we have Agniv Gupta.
Greetings, panel. Greetings to the finalists. So good to see you guys over here after struggling for the whole day. It's really good that we keep the spirit up. Thanks, guys. With that being said, I'll begin my speech in a self count of 3, 2, 1. 7 speeches before me. It's pertinent time that I make out some new points in this Oxford debate and let's snatch the bubble or burst the bubble that the side opposition is leaving into. Understand what the side proposition is telling. Bahujana isn't ideal. We agree to that. But it's just a compass or a framework of a philosophy. Philosophy is not practical. What does that lead to? What we are suggesting, that it can revolutionize how we approach to tourism and fulfill the needs. So we on the side proposition is all for your scientific methods and whatever you trying to employ to benefit tourism and all that with your modern day things. But what we are trying to say, use Vivekananda's policy as a framework or as an approach to that. There is no question or no argument on the side opposition from this till now. Understand the side proposition comes up and tells you why many and Bahujan is very important. The side opposition and trains emphasize on how many is very bad thing in its nature. But understand, you live in a very utopian world, right? It was not possible 50 years ago, it's not possible now, and it won't be possible 50 years from now to cater to the needs of all the people that live in a country, or especially India. Why India is very important, again something the side opposition didn't include, will come to in my speech in my constructive. Understand that we mean that when we want to have stakeholders in this debate, there are 3 main stakeholders. Firstly, the local communities. The side opposition went on harping on stakeholders, but they did not understand or emphasize on the very important marginalized community, something that my previous opposition speaker touched upon this, how it brings the community as center. Which SDGs does it go? Fulfill SDG 1, no poverty or minority getting in the center stage, that brings them employment. Second is the environmental conservation. Understand that when you help something, right, in countries like India, when you with scientific methods, which is highly religious, which highly emphasizes on previous leaders and stands on the shoulders of its greats, when you emphasize with them, with the policy of Mahatma Gandhi or let's say Swami Vivekananda in today's question, they get more patriotic. They follow that. That's how the ideology of India works, and that's why India is very important. And that takes sides opposition case of how incorporating Swami Vivekananda is impractical in today's world. Moving on then, how is happiness subjective and actually works in our favor? Understand that we also say that yes, happiness is subjective. That yes, we at certain point of time, there will come a time when we need to put the happiness at subset and focus on conservation and all that. That is what about Bahujan or many is. Like when many of the feel that it's very important that we should need to fulfill or let's say to cater to needs, it's very important to put happiness at a backseat. Understand that if world doesn't exist, there's no question of happiness. If you don't exist, there's no question of happiness. So if for that, if you need to put your happiness back for the betterment of the world, come on guys, you are don't be selfish. Opposition side coming, and why individual needs is very important. You individual is very selfish who doesn't work or look for the happiness of others, then you are the one who is damaging the case. Understand the clash points that has been there. There were 4 clash points. First was top down versus the bottoms up. Second was the government versus the community. Third was the economic development versus cultural preservation. Fourth was the tourist satisfaction versus the local welfare. Understand all of this clash point actually belongs to side proposition in its inherent case, that we are the one who is harping to use this as a method or as a framework to incorporate between what your policies gonna be for incorporating, let's say, sustainable tourism or ecotourism, for the matter of fact. Both understand that both centralized tourism policies actually help us to empower local minorities if we include this. So there's no harm to include this. We have tried various methods, right? About incorporating modern philosophies or modern technologies. Now let's try something new. Let's go back to the history. We exist because history does, right? So let's go to back to the greats, incorporate, take what is good from them and then influence it, mix it up with what we have of good of today, and then achieve what we want to do. Understand that how this lastly and thirdly, my one constructive is only about empowerment. How does it empower the citizens of India? When Indians identify with that, okay, not only I'm helping the environment, but I'm relating to something that Swami Vivekananda did. Oh, I am someone who is incorporated, who is someone who preaches Swami Vivekananda, hence I'm a good person.
Thank you.
That's why the motion should stand. Thank you. Vote for prop.
Okay, so thank you, sir. Next we have Shresthargo Paul from Scottish Church College speaking against.
Okay, guys. Again, a very good evening. And we start in 3, 2, 1. Okay. India, that is Bharat, the 7th largest country in the world with a massive population of 1.5 billion. So it is very clear that our Bahujan is all the 1.5 billion people. And it is not very easy to hold all these people up with a simple philosophical ideas, right? So the main thing is that if we look at the UN reports also, the UN Sustainable Development Index, where India lies around 122 out of 166 countries, although yes, I believe we are improving, but this is not our limit, right? We want to be a Vishwa Guru, and we have to try a lot of things. Some of the people supporting this motions are talking the fact that the influence of Swamiji can be seen in the Constitution of India, the DPSP, the Article 14, and I also personally believe that those articles, those DPSPs, somehow directly or indirectly have been influenced by Swamiji's thoughts. But this is also true that after that implementation, we have come to 2023. India has become independent 75 years more. Do these DPSPs really we respect? Do we really respect Article 14, that is equality before law and equal opportunities of equal protection of all laws, right? So we have to question ourselves. We all are responsible for this, and the human nature cannot be rectified by the from the certain philosophies. They can give us show the way, but we have to come up. Like Krishna has said in the Mahabharata that I can only see the direction, but I can't fight for you. If I fight, I can clear it in 1 second, right? But we can't. So these things. The next thing is that, to be honest, India is, again, as I said, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Gujarat to Manipur, although we don't have the proper education, we don't have a proper education of the philosophies of the northeastern states, but still, there are many philosophies, ideas that evolve all around the India. Why we should focus on one thing in spite of knowing the fact that there are many loopholes? Considering that, speaking to the SDGs part, as I mentioned in my first speech only, that yes, some of the SDGs has been coming under the Swamiji's philosophies, like SDG 1, 2, which talk about hunger and poverty. But what about the others? For example, SDG number 13, which speaks about the climate change. Do we have any answers? SDG number 17, which talks about the mutual cooperations with the countries, with the multiple sectors. Do we have any answers for that? There are total 17. Only 4 and 5s are matching. That doesn't mean that all the SDG goals we can have through the same philosophies. We have to see the other ways as well. In spite, I think it is better to what has happened. What will be the basis that let's take up all the good things, all the positive things from all the philosophies, and try to implement in our citizens. For example, and this thing is not true for Indian circumstances, because there was a time during the age of Guptas, even during the age of Akbar, we used to do this. The concept of Ibadat Khana is very same. All come together with the good things, right? So basically, just implementing all the Swami only one's philosophy in making a goal is not the correct thing. Like because the other people might feel that they have been suppressed, which again is not the things which we want, right? We're talking about everyone's happiness, everyone's rights, right? So this will only create a polarization, regionalism, definitely, like why only an individual's thoughts have been giving more prioritized, right? So that instead of focusing on this, let's just focus on the thoughts that Swamiji has told us. Swamiji was pretty much supporting the science and tech. And unfortunately, our GDP is $3.3 trillion, but what we have done, but we invested only 0.6% of our GDP. The United States have used their 2.3% of their GDP as their states, right? Considering the fact they have a lot more bigger economy. A small country like Israel has a 6.9% of the GDP. Their economy is so small, right? So why can't? In fact, the most shocking fact is that ISRO's budget in 2023 was reduced from 1,300 crores to only 1,000 crores. So we have to see what we actually need right now. The research and development is the primary focus, right? Another thing I would conclude with that, we have to improve in the individual level, because government can't change each and everyone, right? Swamiji has once said that don't obey your guru blindly. Love him by heart and soul, but don't follow it blindly, right? When you become blind, then nobody can save you. With that, I want to end my speech with that, the famous words, rise above and don't stop until you reach his goal. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shishtargo, for the speech. Next, speaking for the motion from Scottish Church College, we have Agnik Bhattacharya.
Good afternoon, esteemed guests, the panel and the house at large. I am Agnik Bhattacharya of Scottish Church College, and today I will be speaking for the motion Bahujan Sukhayacha, Bahujan Hitayacha, and how Swami Vivekananda's teaching can be beneficial for us in our goals to achieve our sustainable development goals as far as tourism in India is concerned. Now, the phrase itself, Bahujana Sukhayacha, Bahujana Hitayacha, what does it imply? It implies the essence of service that is inherent within us, that we must inculcate in all that we meet. Now, Swami Vivekananda, when he had just taken the initiation rites into being a monk, he said to Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa Dev that I want to live as a hermit. I want to roam around the jungles. I want to live in a cave and meditate and attain salvation, then Ramakrishna Dev said to him that why would you be so selfish as to only want salvation for yourself? If you are truly enlightened, why would you help others to attain that enlightenment as well, or at least try that others attain that enlightenment as well? You will only be truly enlightened when you help others see that salvation as well. Now, when we come to tourism in India, first of all, some facts and figures. Tourism contributes 5.8% towards our GDP. It employs about 32.1 million people in India, and in this current environment of unemployment, that's not a very insignificant figure. And in our tourism industry, there are a lot of ways in which we can improve. First of all, tourism directly is mentioned in Sustainable Development Goals number 8, 12 and 14. But tourism as an industry can also help us achieve directly or indirectly all of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, as was mentioned by several of my friends, both from the opposition and the proposition, that how about zero hunger, no poverty, etc. But another very important thing is that we have to work towards is that we need to envision a sustainable framework in which we can work towards these goals. First of all, I wouldn't go into the points that were already mentioned, but let's say the development of sustainable cities and safe cities. If the cities that we live in are not safe and sustainable for us, how can they be safe and sustainable for the tourists that come into India, or let's say from other parts of India? We also have to work towards ourselves. And education. Quality education is again a very big important point for India when we are talking about upskilling and reskilling people. Tourism requires not just only skilled individuals but also medium skilled individuals who need education. So tourism industry as a whole can serve as an incentive for our leaders, for our politicians to develop better education systems in India, so that we not only grow holistically but also very specifically in the tourism industry itself. Now when we talk about Bahujana Sukhayacha and Bahujana Hitayacha, I would also like to mention that we do not go into Bahujan because recently it is, but for the time since our independence, Bahujan has been a politically charged term. We should go with Sarvajana Sukhayacha, Sarvajana Hitayacha. Why not for all? Because Swamiji has said, Jive Prem Kore Jejon Shejon Sheviche Ishar, sorry, that God is present in each and every one of us, not just in some people or many people, but in each and every one. So why not serve all, or work towards the benefit, the welfare of all, rather than the benefit of one or many? So when we talk about collective well-being, as was preached by Swami Vivekananda and all the other social reformers in our society in modern India, as well as going back to the time of the Rig Veda, when this phrase is actually paraphrased from, I would just like to say that if we want to develop tourism in India much more towards the standards of developed nations, what we need to do is not only just promote tourism but also promote it in a sustainable way, keeping in principles that the people it affects. Tourism does not only affect the people that are directly employed by it, it also affects us. The number of tourists that come in here also affect how we live our lives. The amount of foreign exchange that they bring also affects our economic prosperity as well. So I would just like to end by saying that whatever we do in the course of, let's say, our lives, we must not be as selfish as to look for ourselves. We must see to it that each and every single one of our nation, each and every single of our countrymen is uplifted to the best of our capabilities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Agnik. So the last speaker for the day, concluding this final round, we have speaking against the motion, Vartika Gupta from St. Xavier's College.
So the opposition has taken the liberty to actually, the proposition rather, has taken the liberty to actually restrict the ambit of the debate in tourism and total virgin. And why have they done it? They have done it very well by cherry-picking examples, by pigeonholing, by using different tactics to actually substantiate their case. So let the opposition actually come here to redefine narratives, to understand the norm, the context, and completely uproot the stigmatization of the notion, because otherwise it is alright. Now, when we talk about a notion such as Bahujan Sukhaya and Bahujan Hitayacha, it is not only a propaganda which is being brought forward by, let's say, Indian philosophers like Swami Vivekananda, but also has been propounded in the West by utilitarian philosophers, let's say Jeremy Bentham and even J.S. Mill. Okay, where Jeremy Bentham in his understanding of, welfare and happiness of the maximum, also just like Swami Vivekananda, believes that people inherently are so good that they will collectively come together to build a civil society which benefits all and actually overpowers the individual need and benefit for anything at all. Now, no matter what the standardization of their thoughts were, be it Jeremy Bentham or our very own Swami Vivekananda, it stands extremely irrelevant in terms of today's case itself. In terms of the, morally corrupted, capitalistic society that we live in, the globalized society that we live in, which is so multipolar in its very core, how do you think that collective good will ever be able to overpower individual autonomy or individual freedom in its very own nature? Individual good and individual benefit will always overpower it. This actually brings me to the first and foremost clash, which is the majoritarian, which is versus the minoritarian. Also, so what is the majoritarian versus minoritarian clash? The majoritarian is where the majority reigns, the majority subjugates the minority itself. So in a country, in a political setup such as India itself, where let's say the Hindus are the majority and they have been reigning their power time and again, why do you think these same people will come together to help the marginalized? The marginalized people who have least to no benefits at all in this situation. Now coming to draw a link between the SDG goals, the tourist industry, as well as the notion that Swami Vivekananda had. Firstly, when we try to draw a link between SDG goals and the tourism industry itself, something that the side proposition said very incorrectly so, is that it is legally binding or it is compulsory for the nations to fulfill. It is absolutely not. It is a bold commitment that the countries are making, but it is not legally binding. So there is no guarantee whatsoever when or not these SDG goals are going to be fulfilled. What do these SDG goals promote for? They promote for, let's say, inclusivity as well as shared prosperity, which is inversely proportional to the tourism industry today. What does the tourism industry propose? It proposes a huge mismanagement and a mishandling of huge influx of tourists who come not only to leave behind their footprints, but also damage and lead to an extreme depletion of human resources, societal constraints, as well as completely lead to a depletion of environmental and societal, resources itself. This brings me to my first argument, that is commodification of culture. This is why the very principle of Bahujan Sukhaya and Bahujan Hitachaya remains irrelevant. The commodification of culture is such that is taking place in the tourism industry that it leads to a major imbalance between the economic benefits that one can gain from the tourism industry itself versus the protection of the cultural heritage. So let's say these local artisans, these local people try to earn a certain amount of livelihood, but the middlemen, they are so very well corrupted in their true nature, in their true core, who heavily thrive on the wages, on the profits that these local artisans make. They will not even let them have that minimum amount of wage, which is, let's say, not even enough to keep their children fed at night. Okay, this again brings me to my second argument, which is maintaining a balance between the economic growth as well as community well-being. Alright, now let's say there is a tourist model, there is a touristic model which is performed by the government, which secures a certain amount of revenue for the tourist industry itself, providing a certain amount of benefit for these local communities. But understanding that these middlemen, these brokers, these people who are extremely corrupted and are already coming from different, let's say, biases, they will not ever, let these local artisans benefit from these privileges at all. They will have it for themselves, and the local artisans, the local people will remain marginalized, remain at the margin itself, the way it has always been. This brings me to my third argument, where marginalized sections of the society actually face infamous ways of discrimination, sexual assault and whatnot, right? Let's say, also why are we as collectively as a house here believing that these tourists are going to be very responsible people? You and I, if we come from different backgrounds, it is very much possible that we come from different lineages, and that is the entire reason why there will be a lot of mistreatment towards these people, these artisans.
Ma'am, please wrap up, please.
Right. So these three constructors that I have provided again and again show and reiterate
Thank you, ma'am.
Hitachaya and Bahujan Sukhaya any correlation with the tourist industry or the SDG goals at all. Thank you.
Thank you.
So with that, we come to the end of the final round. It was certainly very interesting. Can we have a huge round of applause for all the participants? Okay. So now Shushmita ma'am will deliver the vote of thanks. So can we please have a huge round of applause for her?
Your results are being made, so just wait. You have to wait. Nothing else that can be done. And while we end our program, I would like to deliver the official vote of thanks. But before that, I would ask Moina, can you just go and call our principal ma'am and Miss Sukanya Bose? They are in ma'am's office, okay? At the very outset, I would like to thank our college secretary, Dr. Shapun Kumar Mukuti, for his endeavor, for being beside us at every step of our program. I would also like to thank our principal ma'am, Dr. Madhumanjari Mondol, and our vice principal sir, Dr. Shupratim Das, for their constant support and encouragement to our program today. A huge thank you to the Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to Mr. Shubhadeep Ghosh, Director General, the Bengal Chamber, Ms. Sukanya Bose, Director, the Bengal Chamber, and Mr. Adhipnath Pal Chaudhary, Co-Chairperson, Tourism Committee, BCC and I. A huge round of thanks and heartfelt gratitude to our judges who have been toiling with us the whole day. They are still doing it. They are still making the results. Ms. Duti Banerjee, senior school teacher at Modern High School for Girls and lawyer at Honorable Calcutta High Court. Mr. Pinaki Bhattacharya, tourism researcher, author and member of the BCCNI National Tourism Committee. Dr. Ratna Sinha, fellow XLRI, ACC mentor and coach, HR advisory, mentor, wellness and communities, the Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And our fourth judge for the day, Ms. Mohor Mukhopadhyay, Head Corporate Communications, Bama Lorry Company Limited. And to the whole BCCI team, a heartfelt round of thanks for this entire program. A huge round of thanks to our college post holders, our bursar ma'am, our senator secretary ma'am, our IQAC coordinator sir, and our teachers council secretary ma'am. None of these programs would have been possible without their constant support beside us. Our teachers, especially to Dr. Mona Lisa Basu ma'am, to Dr. Lolita Rai and Dr. Shreya Sen, for the wonderful beginning, for the wonderful song that they performed in the beginning of the program. A huge round of applause for both of them. And a very big thank you to our chief guest. Such a beautiful and inspiring message he gave all of us. It set us so beautifully well into the program for today. Swami Gyana Lokananda Ji Maharaj, a huge round of thanks to him also. We thank all our colleges, all our participating colleges, principals, faculties, and the students who are with us the whole day. Thank you so, so much for coming and being with us here today. Also, a very important thanks to students of Scottish Church College as volunteers and as participants and being with us. Whenever we have any kind of program, you are our support. Thank you so much. I would like to thank all those who work behind the scenes, our NTS staff and everybody who have arranged, who have taken the pain to make such a kind of a program, silently and persistently worked behind the scenes. Thank you so, so much. Our two student moderators, we got their help from the very beginning. One of them is right beside me, Moinak Bhattacharya and Raj Kishore Mukherjee, for doing the structure of the debate and taking the program along whenever we needed them. Last but not the least, we thank all our teaching staff and our non-teaching staff of the college who have contributed to the success of this program. Finally, before we end, we thank Almighty God for being with us as always. I think our judges are ready. By the time they are carrying on, we'll be distributing our participation certificates, and for that I would request our principal ma'am, Dr. Madhumanjari Mondol, to please come up, and I'll call you students one by one. Moinak, will you please go down and assist ma'am? And we will call you college-wise, okay? The certificates are arranged as per your college. So one by one, as I call your college name, the whole college team come and stand with ma'am, okay? What is the first college, Moinak? Yes. Yeah.
And we'd like to specially thank Dr. Shushmita Gonzalez for being one of the joint conveners.
Bethune College. Come up, Bethune College. You are here. Okay, Moinak, the names, announce them. Give it to ma'am. Moinak, give it to ma'am. Give both the certificates to ma'am. And they will have a picture with ma'am. And please take a picture with ma'am, Bethune College. Moinak, give me the certificates. আমি নামগুলো বলছি তুমি ম্যামের হাতে দিয়ে দেবেন ম্যাম দিয়ে দেবে হ্যাঁ আমি নামগুলো অ্যানাউন্স করি Next college, please come up. The team of Scottish Church College, come in front. এসো সামনে এসো Scottish Church team, please take a photograph with ma'am. Aniket also come, you are the paper presenter. ম্যামের হাতে দিয়ে দাও অনিকেত সবকটা ম্যামকে দিয়ে দাও ম্যামকে দিয়ে দাও Ashutosh College, come in front. Ma'am ke diye dao certificate gulo. St. Xavier's University, come in front. St. Xavier's University team, please come in front. Next, I would request Mr. Konya Bose to please come up on the desk after for presenting the next set of certificates. Sukanya ma'am, please come in front. Thank you, Principal ma'am. Loreto College girls, come in front, quick. You're trying to take a picture. Come. Loreto College, come stand in front. Mona, give the certificates to Sukanya ma'am, please. She'll hand them over. Yes, display your certificates, students. Next college to get ready, St. Paul's Cathedral Mission College team, come in front. Get ready for your pose. Thank you, thank you. Sukanya ma'am, will you please stay back? St. Paul's College is coming. St. Paul's coming. Oh, you're the only one? Yes, right. St. Xavier's College team, get ready, you're next. Xavier এখন দিও না, একটু ওয়েট করো হয় না। আর St. Xavier যখন আসে, তখন কি আশুতোষ করে? ওনার হাতে দিয়ে দিন, he will give it to you. You give it to him, okay? Thank you. St. Xavier's, are you ready? Come in front. Let's show. Hi, good job. Sandesh, yes. Come. Stand in front. That's one excuse.
Manish Kumar sir, CGS College. So I will request you to take
Thank you so much, everybody. Please take a seat. Now, the final announcement of the winners. We will declare the winners here, and I would invite Sukanya ma'am to let you know the rest of the program details. And I'll just declare the winners' names, okay? The paper presentation winners are first prize. First winner is Sneha Brita Banerjee from Loreto College. The winners will come and stand here. You will get your prizes later on. Just stand here. Winners will make a line.
Divyata Banerjee, Department of English, St. Xavier's University.
2 positions are there in the paper presentation. Come, stand in front. You all keep standing. Now the debate winners, okay? Debate for the motion. First, Jyotiraditya. Come in front. Debate second, Deepayon Shamonto. Debate against the motion. First winner is Chandraboli Mojumdar. Debate against the motion, second, Javed Junaid. Okay, now over to Sukanya ma'am. She will be telling you all.
Thank you, everybody. Congratulations to all the winners here and congratulations to all the participants and participating colleges. We would like to announce that the awards will be officially handed over to all the winners on 17th of January in the Bengal Chamber premises. We are doing something different there in the Chamber premises. We are going to send the colleges the invitations along with the winner's name. We request all present here to be please come to our chamber on 17 January from 3 p.m. Right, Amrita? Our program starts from 3 to 6:30. We will be doing a panel discussion followed by a very interesting act on Swami Vivekananda with some reputed artists from our films and music industry. So we invite all of you, and our special thanks to Scottish Church College. Madam Dr. Mondol, thank you so much. I'm really short of words because in such a short span of time, it is something unbelievable that you people have done and helped us in curating such a memorable and wonderful initiative from the Tourism Committee of the Chamber. Let me tell you, this is the first launch program of the National Tourism Committee of the Bengal Chamber. So those who have participated here, please don't think that this debate or the seminar or the paper presentation will be just limited to this room. This is a national committee and our press and media people have covered it well. So we are going to take it big. And to take it big, we need all of your support throughout. So 17 January, please be here. On behalf of the Chamber, we would now like to give a token of appreciation and thanks First, to Dr. Mondal, the principal of the Scottish Church College, for really being such a help, and the entire team of Scottish Church, the academicians, the non-teaching staffs, everybody. So on behalf of the chamber, I would request Ms. Ratna Sinha to hand over a token of memento to Dr. Mondal. We also wanted to hand over a token to the Vice Principal of the college. Is Vice Principal sir here? Till the time he joins, we would like to felicitate our judges, because an entire day from their busy work schedule coming and spending here is really something which we must appreciate and we must thank. So the first gift which we want to give is to Ms. Ratna Sinha for being one of the judge and evaluating the entire thing. I would request Dr. Mondal and Mr. Joydeep Kundu to hand over the memento on behalf of the Bengal Chamber and Scottish Church to Dr. Ratna Sinha. A small token of memento to Mr. Pinaki Bhattacharya, who have been really working hard for this entire program. Pinaki sir, this is for you on behalf of the chamber and the college. Thank you, ma'am. And also from the students' fraternity. Thank you. With this, I would like to, okay.
Students, the judges had given the last prize, which is the best team. There was a last prize, and the last prize winners are Scottish Church College, Team 2. Are they here? Shoptok, Moitro and Ognib. Come up in front, please. Ognib Bhattacharya. Ma'am, Principal Ma'am, I would request her to take a photograph. This is the best team of the entire debate, and it's Team 2 of Scottish Church College. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, students, for being with us. As you leave, as you disperse, we have arranged for some slight refreshments for you outside. Please avail of them as you leave. Thank you.